Welcome, welcome. Happy Fleet Week, everyone. We got Blue Angels overhead, but boy, have we got something on the ground to talk about. My goodness, the TMZ video is officially a game changer. What we wanted to assume happened yesterday, what through the Warriors' words and actions that they presented to us at the press conference yesterday, to play this off is no big deal, and it was a full-on in-practice basketball skirmish, does not exactly hit the bullseye of what happened. This wasn't an on-court physical banging against each other, two guys battling for a rebound, throwing elbows. That's not what happened here. This was an intentional confrontation from one guy who wasn't even playing, walking up to another guy who was standing on a baseline, not even playing. And I really can't see what Jordan Poole is saying at that point in time at all. But Draymond Green has got his engine so buried in the red that he could not just let it go. And that is a good way to sum up what is the best of Draymond and the worst of Draymond, and what the Warriors end up doing here is now like an actual topic. I don't think this is as easily dismissible as we all hoped it would be just yesterday afternoon. Ray, turn your mic on. And hello, how are you, honey?
I'm just trying to get situated because I know we're going to talk a lot about Colts-Broncos.
It's a lot of Colts-Broncos today. What a fabulous sporting event. God. Jeff Bezos is like, I paid $11.5 million for this.
$11.5 billion.
Billion, excuse me.
It's $87 million a game.
Whoa. Okay. Well,
he got his money's worth last night. But no, I think the video, makes Draymond Green look significantly worse. But I don't know if it changes the Warriors' approach on this. Because I think they're going to long game this. And they're going to say, all right, that happened. Draymond Green's got a bunch of fence mending to do. But the truth is, we need them both if we're going to win another title. Let's see how this plays out. And, it is probably at best a tiebreaker if a choice came down to which of these two guys we keep. But I'm not even sure that that's in play either, because I think Jordan Poole's interests are entirely being defined by Jordan Poole. I mean, the Warriors may make him an offer. He might decide, I'm going to wait and let the season play out.
And he might have had that as a strategy before any of this
I'm sure he did. Yeah. I mean, so I think in some ways, while this is today's sort of nuclear test, I don't know if it's the Armageddon that people seem to think it is. The video makes a bad situation look significantly worse. I'm interested to know how TMZ got it a day later and why, because I think that opens up a lot of questions about who's saying what to whom.
This is a huge crack in the entire franchise's armor.
Yeah, it is, because unless they're letting guests come into practice, the person who took that video essentially is an employee of some sort. So that raises the question of, well, why did they want the video out after they were trying to not play it down, but sort of slow play it? That's a question I suspect we will never find out unless somebody pays off TMZ enough to make that work. But for the most part, I think their worldview on Draymond Green is, at least in terms of whether he comes back next year with a new deal or the same, whatever, I think the season is going to determine that. And I think Jordan Poole's season will determine where he plays next year, because I don't think he's going to be exiled. I think his choice is entirely his. So we still have a lot of things in play, but today, I guess, is the day that Draymond Green is the piñata that, frankly, he kind of deserves to be.
Anyone who wants to spin this as cut Draymond Green, get rid of him, Jordan Poole should refuse to play. He should walk into Bob Myers' office screaming things like it's me or him. You have to understand that this is not a television show. There are agreed to rules here. So none of that's going to be happening. None of that's going to be happening. What is this really going to cost Draymond Green? We're not going to know until we go forward, until he's leaning over to sign either the next deal with the Warriors, another deal with another team, or if the NBA has so said, yeah, I don't really know if that is quite what we need around our franchises, maybe he is going to TNT sooner than he might have imagined. But I can tell you this, that Draymond Green cost himself tens of millions of dollars with this video. Tens of millions of dollars. Whatever he was going to get paid, whatever that number was, today it is less than that number. Definitively, undebatably, this man has cost himself millions.
He cost himself millions yesterday. He may have cost himself millions more today. Because when the Warriors came out with an unscheduled presser to deal with this, every other team in the NBA, knowing how the Warriors usually operate on stuff like this, their antennae went up. They went, okay, this is bad. They got to see how bad today, and then they can make further judgments. But yesterday was, at least for the other teams, information enough.
You know what it also is? It's incredible bullet points and talking points to trash talk both Draymond Green and Jordan Poole. These players on the court are merciless against each other. Draymond Green just handed a playbook on how to get under his skin to the entire NBA, and he just opened up an avenue of ridicule for poor Jordan Poole that he didn't deserve, but he's going to hear about how he got knocked out at practice, whether that's fair or not, for the rest of his career. There won't be a single NBA season that goes by. He can play for 20 years. There won't be a single NBA season that goes by. When Jordan Poole, who I hope lives an incredibly successful, monetarily successful, happy home life, wonderful life, when that life is over, this is a first paragraph of the man's obituary level of a topic. However many titles he wins, however long he played in the NBA, and the guy who got punched by Draymond Green in practice, this is going to follow him no matter where he goes. And that is collateral damage, and it sucks, but it's real. I love Chris Rock. Love Chris Rock. Think he's one of the funniest human beings I have ever had the pleasure to sit in the same room with and listen to. Man is absolutely a brilliant comedian. There's never another joke he'll ever tell in his life where I don't think, yeah, that's the guy who got hit. That's the guy who got slapped on the Oscars. 1 billion people saw it. Jordan Poole, fair or not, no matter how brilliant he is always going to be looked at by some as, yeah, it's a guy who got hit by Draymond Green. And that's where they'll leave it. Again, more people today saw Draymond Green overhand right Jordan Poole than watched the NBA Finals. Any one game. Not a single NBA Finals game had a 20 million person audience. This video was over 20 million views at lunchtime. This is global. This has come off the sports page onto the front page, and it's only there because that's where Draymond put it. Draymond should be, whatever apology he's cooking up, you better call your agent back and work on that a little bit more, because whatever he had in mind to gloss over this, flash that toothy smile of his, turn on the charm, which he can absolutely do. Remember, a lot of snakes are charming. Draymond Green looks like a snake. He looks like, if I may borrow from Jim Harbaugh, a trusted agent. Draymond Green is no longer an agent to be trusted. That's how his teammates need to look at him. If he is not being looked at side-eye, there's something wrong with the eyes that are looking at him. And for those who want to make an excuse, I'm telling you, you were raised poorly. You were raised poorly. And anyone who wants to say, well, Jordan Poole, he put his hands on him first. Draymond Green walked over there with such intent to do harm, Ron Adams followed him. Ron Adams, a veteran of thousands of NBA practices, knew something was about to happen. So we got an awful lot to get into today. Nick Fardell, who covers the NBA, obviously spent a lot of time out here with us. He is going to join us at 4:15. A slice of 49ers, Panthers, a very small slice, because that feels like
the game merits.
Feels like an afterthought compared to what is now the topic du jour. And this is soup du jour that was held over from yesterday as well. But boy, it's a little bit more spicy now. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them. Draymond Green has showed us who he really is in many different ways. This is a part of who he is. And how much longer a guy like that needs to be around an organization like this is something that is definitely a topic over at Chase Center right now. 888-957-9570. Lines are exploding. If you are on hold, we're going to talk to you in a moment here on 95.7 The Game. Don't you go anywhere. We got a good one for you this afternoon. Brought to you by BMW Fairfield and by Alice in Winterland. It's all happening Friday, December 2nd, down at SAP Center in San Jose. Tickets are on sale right now on Ticketmaster. Damon and Ratto, 95.7 The Game.
1, 2, 3. Can the Niners make it 2 in a row?
Right up the gut. Wilson. Goodbye. Touchdown 49ers.
Niners.
They're down at 9. Bosa. The sack.
Panthers.
7 to the end zone. McCaffrey. Touchdown.
The best pre- and post-game coverage is right here on 95.7 The Game.
Did you know that most people wait 6 or 7 years before they buy a new TV? That's a lot of time in front of one TV. So why not get one of the best sets for the next 7 years, like one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony models? Too expensive? What if you could get up to $1,000 trade-in for your old set? Who would do a stupid deal like this? Right now, at Video Only, you can get big bucks for your old set as a trade-in and a hot price on the new models. Don't be sorry. Check out Video Only.
There's a reason Comcast Business powers more businesses than any other provider. Actually, there's a few. Comcast Business offers the fastest, reliable network, the peace of mind that comes with Security Edge, helping to protect all your connected devices, and the most reliable 5G mobile network. Want me to keep going? I can. Whether your small business is starting or growing, you need Comcast Business. Technology solutions that put you ahead and give you serious savings. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get started with fast speeds and advanced security. Together for just $69.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Or find out how to get up to a $650 prepaid card with a qualifying bundle. Limited time offer, restrictions apply. New 50 megabits per second internet and Security Edge customers only. Requires enrollment in EcoBill and AutoPay. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. Comcast Business Mobile utilizes the network with the most RootMetrics 5G data reliability wins in 1H 2022. Results may vary, not an endorsement.
Everything, our farm, our stand, our pop-up shop, it really all started when we discovered the benefits of local, raw honey for our family.
And then we decided to turn it into a business.
We were looking for something to help us get up and running.
So we got the Chase Business Complete Banking Account.
It's more than a bank account. It comes with Quick Accept, which lets us take card payments anytime, anywhere in the U.S. using the Chase mobile app. Plus, we get same-day deposits at no extra cost. For us, it's more than honey. It's about sharing a little sweetness with the world.
Get the Chase Business Complete Banking Account with the essentials you need to help get your business going. Learn more at chase.com/business-complete-banking. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Quick Accept is not available in U.S. territories. Enrollment required. Usage subject to approval. Same-day deposits available for payments before 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday to Friday. Fees and rates apply for checking and processing. Limitations and restrictions apply. Participants compensated. Merchant services provided by Payment Tech LLC and WePay Inc., subsidiaries of J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
As you know, sports teams plan well ahead of the next season. If you're thinking of remodeling your home, consider the same strategy. Talk with your designer or builder now about your next project. Golden State Window and Door has new inventory coming online. Milgard, Anderson, and Marvin. See Golden State Window and Door's wide variety of accessories at convenient showrooms across the Bay Area or goldenstatelumber.com. Since 1954. Golden State. When you succeed, we succeed.
My heart was racing just making spaghetti. I could have waited to tell my doctor, but I didn't wait.
I was short of breath just reading a book. I could have delayed telling my doctor, but I didn't wait.
They told their doctors and found out they have atrial fibrillation, a condition which makes it about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you have one or more of these symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, this is no time to wait. Contact your doctor.
Brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Kansas City Steak Company, another AmericanEagle.com success story. Started in 1932 as a family-owned butcher shop, today they're a leading distributor of superior all-American steaks delivered right to your door, ready for the grill and your taste buds. When it came to their website, an average site wouldn't do. They chose AmericanEagle.com to take their website to the next level. With a dramatic increase in competition and a softening market demand, they had 2 challenges: improve their brand presence and message, and produce a positive return. AmericanEagle.com got to work and executed usability studies and detailed audits of site experience, digital assets, and marketing. The result? An integrated digital marketing and customer experience plan, organic traffic increase of 20%, and a long-term roadmap for success. If you love great steaks, go to kansascitysteaks.com for website design, development, and online solutions that bring efficiency and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. If you need a results-driven website, call the team at AmericanEagle.com at 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
You might not have the biggest garage on the block, but with eBay Motors, there's 122 million parts right at your fingertips. Whatever you need, there's something that fits your vehicle. Air filters, tires, seat covers, and more. Get the right parts at the right prices. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Now back to Damon and Ratto on 95.7 The Game. Brought to you by BMW Fairfield. Now open in the Fairfield Auto Mall. Visit bmwfairfield.com today to book your visit.
Look, when big news breaks, people come right here to 95.7 The Game. And we really appreciate that. Thanks so much for choosing us. We have maybe the biggest audience I've ever seen watching us right now on YouTube. We are streaming, of course, on YouTube, on Twitch. Welcome, everyone. Lots of chatting going on. All I can tell you is I'm not interested in reading chats as much as I am in talking to you. So 888-957-9570 is the number. What an issue we have in front of us. Real quick, here's my bad look power rankings, Ray. This whole thing, bad look power rankings. Well, Draymond Green is Alabama. He's number one, unquestioned. He's a consensus number one at the top of the power rankings of looking bad. Number 2 is the Warriors for trying to spin this into just a normal basketball skirmish that happens at practice all the time. No, it's not what happened. Number 3, the Warriors' internal circle of trust. Like, who let that video out? Was it someone who was just there filming? Was it actually a team employee? Was it a video coordinator who knows that, like, yeah, this gets traced back to me. I probably don't have a career in the NBA, so you better make it worth my while, TMZ. Whoever got paid off for this, I hope it's enough to make sure that they still can write their rent payments after the Warriors clearly fire whoever did this.
Yeah, see, that's why I don't think it's anybody like from the video group. Just because that's a job you can have for a lot of years. And I don't know if the TMZ is going to cover all your bills for the next 10.
I bet you they paid $500,000 for that video.
I bet they didn't pay nearly that much. I bet that's not worth $500,000.
Based on the 20 million impressions, Ray?
But they don't cash in on impressions. I mean, they probably pay, I would guess they would pay maximum $200,000. And even at that, that's probably a stretch. But I'm not a TMZ expert, so I'm just blowing gas
who
as
knows?
usual. Yeah.
Who knows?
Anyway, the fact is, I find the timing more interesting than whoever did it, because Yesterday, it seemed like, okay, everybody got their 24 hours worth out of this. The Warriors seem to have this moderately handled. And then it comes out. Now, there's only 3 possibilities here. TMZ started casting around for possible video of it. I mean, I'm sure the Warriors wouldn't have helped them there. The Warriors wanted it out in a way that seems actually kind of sneaky. Or they still let guests in to watch basketball practice, which seems odd to me since it's their building.
Yeah.
And they're in charge of who gets in and who gets out. So that's an interesting notion. But the fact that it came out today after yesterday seemed to have it tamped down confuses me all the more, because what do the Warriors gain by dredging this up even more?
Again, bad look power rankings. Draymond, roll tide. He's Alabama. The Warriors are trying to spin this into a basketball skirmish. The Warriors' internal circle of trust. How did the video actually get out? Number 4, fans who are still trying to dismiss this as, this is normal. Like, nothing to see here. This happens all the time. Kiss my ass. This does not happen all the time in a professional NBA setting. Some of the time, yeah. But those 2 guys are usually going at each other like actually playing basketball. These are 2 guys who were not on the court. Number 5, bad look, Draymond's future with this team. Draymond's future in this league. All a bad look right now. And for number 6, it's not his fault, but this is a bad look for Jordan Poole. I know everyone is rushing to defend him, rightfully so. He's the man who should be defended in this video. But it is not good for him, his image, his Q rating, anything. This is not good for him. It's not cataclysmically bad, but it's just not a good look. And, anyone who wants to debate me about this, let me record someone dropping you like a 50-pound sack of potatoes and have 20 million people watch it, and you tell me if you're cool with that. Like, if Jordan Poole really comes out of this like, ain't no big deal, man, I'm just here to get buckets, he is one of the baddest mofos this team has ever had on it, and they should give him infinity dollars. Pay him like Steph right now. Because if that's how he is wired, he's a bad man.
But that's not what they're paying on. They're going to pay on whether he can become, whether he can force his way into playing 35 minutes a game on a team that's already got 2 guards. That's how they're going to do this. This is not going. This may impact everybody else's thinking, but it's not going to impact the Warriors.
Sports don't build character, Ray. They reveal it. If Jordan Poole is literally nothing but Johnny High Road on this the entire way through, like, Draymond, I forgive you. Let's move on. I don't want to hear about it. It's not haunting me when I sleep at night. If that's the way Jordan Poole really is wired and walks through this, that matters.
Well, yeah,
that matters.
That's what that's one of the things the Warriors want to see. And it's one of the things that Stephen Curry definitely wants to see. Because the truth is, Stephen Curry is at some point, if he hasn't done this already, he's going to go up to Jordan Poole and say, you don't get to hold a grudge on this because then you're screwing with everybody. We need this to be seamless. All right? We don't, to win a championship, everybody has to pull the same way.
How many times have they said that to Draymond? How many times have they said that to Draymond Green, and he's still pulling this at age 32 in year
but that's
11 or whatever it is?
Okay, but this is still the message he's going to get. They're not going to pin this on him. I mean, they're going to say this to Draymond too, but Jordan Poole is the guy who, if he wants to stay here, that's going to be the message Steph Curry says. It's, you got wronged, but above all else, this is our team, and of all of us, I'm first among equals. I want another championship, and you holding a grudge isn't going to help me. So don't. And I don't think that's an unreasonable message to send. And I think Jordan Poole, if he's got sense about it.
Let me ask you about what grudges I could talk you out of if you didn't really want to do that, Ray. As stubborn as you are, the answer is none. 0 grudges. I couldn't.
But that's why I'm not playing basketball.
Of a chip off your shoulder. But
that's not why I'm not playing basketball.
Right. But
I'm a weaker person.
I hope Jordan Poole
He probably is.
Look at it this way.
He knows how to do math.
Yeah, everything about him has been wildly impressive. That guy got to the league. He was almost pushed out of the league. He went back to the G League, worked his way back. I mean, there's nothing about this kid that doesn't signal, I'm actually a badass over here. Like a real badass, not this false badass that Draymond Green, in my mind, looks like today.
But more to the point, when you said that this makes Jordan Poole look bad, I'm not sure it does. Because it's not like a situation where, you see him instigating. He took a punch to the face, one that nobody knew was coming. Not even Rod Adams. I mean, he didn't know that it was going to go this way.
I think Ron did.
I think he thought there might be words. I don't think he saw a punch coming. I don't think anybody did. And I think the fact that Jordan Poole got hit with a punch that nobody expected to see coming does no damage to him at all. It doesn't make him look weak. It doesn't make him look soft.
It's public
perception. It
perception.
makes him look like a victim.
It's public perception, man. Public perception. Look at it this way. Chris Rock didn't do anything wrong but tell a joke. And everybody had Chris Rock jokes the very next day.
That's because everybody always...
But that's the thing. The internet is a cruel place that doesn't consider what is fair, what is right. They just see targets and they go after it.
But the internet are empty calories. Jordan Poole's playing for bigger stakes than the internet.
Right. I understand that.
And it's not... So it's... Ultimately, he doesn't look bad at all on this. Some people will have a joke at his expense from time to time, but it doesn't stick any more than it stuck to Chris Rock. Chris Rock is more revered than ever because he didn't react.
I think this could follow an athlete around for his entire career.
Only if he wanted to fight and showed signs that he was ready to go and then took a punch. Yeah, I see your point. He didn't do that.
No.
He just got cold-cocked.
Right. Just like Chris Rock. Just like Chris Rock, Ray.
But Chris Rock still came out way better in the end than Will Smith did.
But Chris Rock isn't going to go into an actual, arena of competition. He just stands up on the stage and he's funny. Jordan Poole has to bow up to grown-ass men all over this league for the next 10 years.
Which he was going to have to do anyway.
Right, but now he's got to do it with this. It's a part of it. It's part of the story. And it's not just part of the story. It's paragraph 1 of the obituary level part of the story. This is now the defining moment of a young career so far. Not the NBA title he just won. This is how Planet Basketball will see him and view him and talk about him for a long time, man. And you can say that the internet is empty calories. Well, that's why the world's so fat, because they can't stop eating these empty calories. 888-957-9570. This is Tony in Alameda. You're on 95.7 The Game. Hello. A going once, a twice, a thrice, and no dice. This is Steve.
Did you just make that up?
I did. Steve from Florida. What's going on, Steve?
Hey, how you doing? I'm probably bad. I know me and my whole family is shooken up. I just had one of my kids question if he should even go back to practice because he's so scared that one of his teammates might do what Draymond did. And it's really, I'm shooken up, man. You got to really think about it. Who's next? When Steve Kerr benches him, is he going to punch Steve Kerr?
I would say that your son probably doesn't have much to worry about at his basketball practice. I would certainly hope not. But yeah, the whole Draymond Green has all the house credit in the world to which he can spend any way he wants in the casino. I think those days are officially over now. I mean, how do you give Draymond all the house credit he needs? I would be pulling the marker. This is someone who is no longer a trusted agent. As long as emotions are involved in the equation, this is now a definitive equation that Draymond Green can come out on the losing end of. Time and time again. He can't stop his nose from running. He can't. And he's just such a blowhard. I mean, he's an entertaining blowhard. I should know. I can see it in the mirror. An entertaining blowhard, for sure. But he goes out of his way to not use this podcast for anything other than vindictive vendetta settling. I mean, after an NBA title, he didn't want to sit down to record a podcast to talk about what an incredible accomplishment he and his team just did, what they just accomplished. He didn't want to talk about that. He wanted to spend a full 40 minutes on the FU tour. Didn't believe in us? F you, F everyone. F everyone. Draymond's got no respect. And you can't give respect if you got no respect. That man has got no respect for his team, for his league, and that's definitive now. The only thing that Draymond could possibly offer the Golden State Warriors is the correct rotation on off-ball movement. Like, I know the phrase, shut up and dribble, is now tantamount to a racist saying. And it should be, because it was used by Laura Ingraham trying to silence basketball players, talking about social media or social justice causes. Draymond, shut up and dribble, dude. I got nothing. There's nothing left from you that you can possibly say that makes me think these words are anything other than temporary and hollow. And I can prove that because on Draymond Green's podcast, here's how much he loved the way Jordan Poole was talking.
One thing that Jordan did that showed me he's going to be all right in this league actually happened in training camp of his rookie year. Jordan came into camp talking shit to everybody, and I remember one day him and Glenn Robinson III, they got into it. All these guys are coming to me like, tell him to shut up. His young ass always got something to say. But I'm like, I'm not going to tell him to shut up. If you can't handle him talking shit, that's on you. At that moment, though, the way he was getting under guys' skin, I appreciated that. You know, you couple that with the hard work that he puts in and the amount of skill that he has. And it is a recipe for a guy who's going to be successful in this league.
I mean, that's the thing. This whole thing was trying to be framed as, Draymond, man, at all times.
He's a competitor.
No, this is not a competitor. This is kind of a punk. Like, if he can play good defense for the Warriors, he can play for the Warriors this year. I don't think there's going to be much interest in other teams adding someone who could do this, fly off the handle. Like when someone shows you who they are time and time again, believe it. And Draymond has lost an awful lot of capital, I think.
Oh, I don't think there's any question about that. He's got to remake, his, and I hate to use the word image, but he's got to remake his place in the basketball world. That's clear.
Starting locally. I mean, that's the thing.
Oh, yeah.
For Draymond's image to be tarnished around the NBA, whatever. Who cares?
Well, no, but
his image is tarnished in Chase Center.
No, I'm agreeing with you there. I mean, the only place I get off the train here is I don't think Jordan Poole looks bad on this at all. I don't know what his future with this team is, but I do know that he gets to determine that in ways that maybe the Warriors will regret if he leaves more now than ever. But in terms of looking bad, no, he got hit by a punch that A, shouldn't have been coming, was out of context, everything that was happening before it. And, and he's the smaller guy. So, it's not like, Jordan Poole knocked out Draymond Green with the same punch. It's, he's one of the smallest guys in the league. I mean, he would almost be borderline scrawny by NBA definitions. So I don't see where, other than having a sore jaw today, that there's anything bad that's happened to him. I think people will look at him and go, he's the guy who got sucker punched. He's the victim here. And victims usually don't catch much grief.
Gabriel and Napa, you're on 95.7 The Game. Gabriel, what do you got?
Fellas, what a great ride. I'm in Calistoga now, by the way.
Send wine.
Be serious. Yeah, one to be a little bit serious. Draymond Green is exhibiting the behavior of someone who has a mental illness. 65% of America is suffering some. I should know. I'm bipolar. I deal with it with my medication and try to drink water. And I've been there. I've been a jackass, and my stepbrother is in prison for being a habitual line stepper. Draymond is in double digits with this kind of stuff, and if he doesn't deal with it, it's going to get worse, man. He punch a guy in the nightclub. Anyway, that stuff that's happening in the gym or on his, it's just so obvious that the real victim is himself. He just keeps hurting himself over and over, and thus his family. I mean, can you imagine, the embarrassment? Secondly, on the basketball side of things, Jordan Poole, by being Johnny High Road, he's going to make $150 million because the Warriors are going to appreciate that. They want to sign him anyway. He's the future. And then, back to Draymond and his basketball future, the way they're going to honor him as an all-time great Warrior is, hey, take your pick. You want to go to Detroit? You want to go to Orlando? Hey, Clutch, you pick one. Draymond Green has played his last game with the Warriors, and I will put a 2013 bottle of Dariush on the table, Ray.
Okay, send one over.
Right. I mean, I guess he's playing. Look at it this way. Unless something changes, he's playing opening night. Unless something changes, he's playing opening night. Now, Gabriel, thanks so much for the call.
Don't get his address because he's delivering a bottle.
He is on the record.
He talked it. He's going to walk it.
Here's what Steve Kerr said was going to happen.
Didn't practice today. I won't be here tomorrow, and I expect him to return on Saturday and get back at it.
So just after this video leak today, he's back in the gym tomorrow. Nothing happened. See you on opening night. He's playing in the preseason. I mean, the Warriors had painted themselves into that corner because, by the way, even though we're the ones who saw the tape for the first time today, the Warriors knew exactly what happened. They were there. And I'm sure if this was property of the Golden State Warriors, this tape at one point, they saw the tape too. This is one of those, you get me that video right away. And I don't know how the Warriors can save face by now further suspending Draymond Green, because at this point they'd be saying, well, we're not suspending Draymond Green over the action anymore. We're now suspending him over your general public reaction. And I don't think that makes them look good. So
that's dishonest.
Yeah, they painted themselves into a no real where to run to kind of corner the way that they just wanted to dismiss this all yesterday. And, look at it this way. For those on the text line, there's a guy over here on the YouTube chat named Marv who's just trying to troll so hard, talking about, Damon, you got white fragility. You tell that to Steven Jackson. I don't think Steven Jackson suffers from white fragility, and if there's one thing I do know about is Steven Jackson knows more about the code of the NBA than any chatter on YouTube ever will.
And there's no reason to sucker punch a young fella, you know what I'm saying? But I told Draymond last night, he got to fix that situation with Poole, you know what I'm saying? Because he don't benefit from it at all. He got to be the big bro and go over there and tell little bro, look, I spazzed out, you know what I'm saying, da-da-da-da. But you never hit the little homies like that in practice. All your teammates, man. You never do that. I've never done that, bro. Never done that.
Steven Jackson has discharged firearms in strip club parking lots in Indianapolis. That wasn't too far for him. But hitting a teammate in practice? No, he draws the line there.
I'm just amused by the fact that I haven't heard the phrase spazzed out in about 50 years.
Yeah, that is a new one.
It's not a new one. It's a really old one.
Right. Actually, I think didn't Beyonce just remove the phrase spazzed out because it offended people from a new, anyways, I don't know. Here we go to Eric in San Francisco. Ray, do you know anything about Beyonce?
I'm aware of her existence.
That's about where I had you. Eric in San Francisco. What do you got, Eric?
Ooh.
How you guys doing, man?
Doing well.
All right. So what I wanted to say is, in the future, anytime that Jordan Poole plays an NBA game and say he gets into it, they're going to start using that against him, and they're going to try to use that to punk him and all that, and more technicals and more penalties and all that are going to start coming with this because they're going to just see him getting punched and they're going to try to get under his skin. I feel like everybody in the NBA is going to try to use something like that against him.
Well, I mean, is there any doubt that Draymond Green's going to lead the league in technical fouls? I mean, the man just said, here's how you get under my skin. Bring up the fact that Jordan Poole's a better player, about to make more money than I'll ever see. That should really rile Draymond up. I mean, Eric, you still there?
I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Eric.
Keep going.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, I'm talking about Jordan Poole. If he starts getting into arguments with other players, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's what follows the poor guy around now. Deservedly so, not deservedly so. It sucks. It sucks. He's collateral damage because Draymond Green, once again, couldn't keep his emotions in check. Not in the heat of competition, not over the course of the highly intense NBA regular season or the even higher intensity that comes with the playoffs or the ultimate intensity of the NBA Finals. This man melted down watching practice. Watching practice.
You just Iverson there.
Yeah, I did a little bit. But this is some serious, not what it was framed to be yesterday. I don't think there's any doubt about that. When we come on back, we keep taking your phone calls. Every single line we had is lit. I see all of you there. We're coming back to you. When we come on back, our good friend who covered the Warriors for years out here, and I guarantee you is going to ask Kevin Durant what he thinks of all this eventually, if he hasn't already, because now he covers the Brooklyn Nets. Our pal Nick Fardell is going to be joining us at 4:15 here on 95.7 The Game. So don't you go anywhere. It's Damon and Ratto, brought to you by Fremont Bank. Full-service banking, no compromises.
I'm Joe Ostrowski here to help you beat the books with BetQL. Winless Colorado State visits to win Nevada tonight, and the BetQL model is eyeing the low total of 44.5. Both are ranked in the bottom 10 of all of college football in yards per play, but BetQL still thinks these offenses will do enough. BetQL has over 44 in the hook as a 5-star best bet. They project this game at 51.5. I'm Joe Ostrowski. Bet smarter and beat the books. Download the BetQL app today.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you 24/7, with supplies and solutions for every industry, and access to product specialists ready to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
95.7 The Game has the best red and gold pre-game coverage.
I felt like Shanahan kind of made it a referendum on toughness, the way they came out.
Check out the kickoff show with Larry Krueger and Lorenzo Neal.
You guys got to keep my ass clean before I can go make tackles. You keep me clean.
Presented by Jim Beam Bourbon Whiskey and by Harris Ranch Beef.
Do you think all premium fuels are the same? Well, your engine doesn't. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus helps keep your engine running like new because it's engineered to defend against 4 main engine threats: gunk, wear, corrosion, and friction. So next time, choose Shell's most advanced fuel ever. It's fuel for thought. In engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline.
Hey, Becky, what about this beat for your next song?
It's cool, but I'm into faster stuff lately. Like Xfinity that gives me beyond gig speeds.
Got it. What about this then?
It sounds powerful, just like Xfinity. Because its supersonic Wi-Fi has 3 times the bandwidth, you can connect hundreds of devices at once.
That's what I call power.
Unbeatable internet from Xfinity. Made to do anything so you can do anything.
Get the Xfinity Supersonic Bundle with unlimited gig speed internet, Wi-Fi equipment included, and a free 4K streaming box. All for $50 a month with a 2-year internet rate guarantee and no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go to Xfinity.com/gig, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay. New Gigabit Extra internet customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes wireless usage. After 24 months, regular rates apply. Requires compatible Xfinity gateway.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-478-6688. That's 1-800-478-6688. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-478-6688. That's 1-800-478-6688.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
Hey, I'm Ben Kaspick, host of the Locked On Giants podcast, a daily podcast covering your favorite team. The Giants are all in on analytics, and on this show, we talk about the Giants in a way that's data-driven and rational, but also simple, passionate, and accessible to all. We understand sabermetrics, but we also understand what it's like to play this game. Listen to the Locked On Giants podcast every day on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Ad paid for by the Sentinel Group. Attention Marines, military personnel, families, and contractors who were stationed at Camp Lejeune. Were you present at Camp Lejeune between August 1953 and December of 1987? You may be entitled to significant compensation. For nearly 34 years, those in the Marine Corps' base Camp Lejeune were exposed to contaminated drinking water, resulting in devastating injuries, including several forms of cancer, adverse birth outcomes, Parkinson's disease, and more. North Carolina's procedural laws have prevented victims from getting the justice they deserve, but passage of the Camp Lejeune Justice Act of 2022 would allow you or a loved one to file lawsuits seeking compensation for illnesses and injuries linked to the toxic water. Call today for your free consultation. 800-610-9256. Let our experienced attorneys fight to get you the compensation you deserve, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. Call 800-610-9256. That's 800-610-9256. Again, 800-610-9256.
Now back to Damon and Ratto, brought to you by BMW Fairfield on 95.7 The Game.
Good to have you here today. I think we all know what we're talking about here. Nick Fardell in about a half an hour to continue to talk about the video that we saw on TMZ today, which certainly changes the tone of the Draymond Green Jordan Poole interaction at practice, which just, I don't think can, just now be dismissed as well, that's two guys playing basketball against each other because they weren't even playing. They weren't even playing. By the way, if you see that video again, just watch Ron Adams. Just watch Ron Adams. I mean, 1 million NBA practices is all he's ever been to. Ron understands how NBA players who run in the red, NBA players get on their emotions. Like Ron Adams knows NBA DNA like the back of his hand. He trails Draymond like he's drifting off of his wind resistance when he starts walking over to Jordan Poole. He knew something was coming. He did. He was staring at Draymond the entire time. Jordan Poole has every right to get somebody who's going nose to nose with him out of his face. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, my father doesn't get to step to me like that. My dad never did. My dad never came up to me like he was about to invade my space like that. There's no one who walks to you like that who isn't in it for the scrapple. Full stop. Full stop. Jordan Poole, I think, rightfully so, gives him the international to-be-experienced sign of back the hell up when he shoves Draymond away. Anyone who wants to equate is the word I'm looking for. Anyone who wants to equate that shove to the first action of a physical assault is a flaming douchebag. I'm so sorry that you were raised by morons, but you were. It is the punch that was wrong. Ron Adams sees the punch and then all of a sudden remembers, I'm 74. I have no business stepping into this. He just puts his hands on his hips while other coming to break it up. He is exasperated. There's no doubt in his mind. He's thinking, Draymond Green, here we go again. And Ray, like the bass tournament or the walleye tournament where the guys got caught cheating red-handed, putting lead weights into the fish, like the chess guy who might have put hey, how are you somewhere to get signs. That's the wrong move. There is... I can't even remember where I was going with it because then I started thinking about a guy with a shaking egg up his butt.
Please remember later. Because
I'm going to try.
I want to see how you make this circle square.
No, it was going to happen. I swear to God, it was going to happen. But then I lost it.
All right.
But look, we have. Oh, I guess here's my point. I got it back. Like you can't trust that this is the first time that guy ever got cheated in a fishing tournament, but he got caught now. The same way you can't just say, oh, well, that one chess tournament may be the only he ever cheated in. How many times has this actually happened with Golden State Warriors? And because there was no video and no leaks from practice that day, nothing happened. How many times has Draymond done this? And are you telling me this is the first time he's ever done anything like this and that we're just hearing about it for the first time? I can't believe that anymore.
Well, it's now in question. I mean, I suspect that this is probably a first for him to just basically cold cock a teammate. But I mean, I'm sure that he's been I don't want to say violent, but obnoxious in practice to the point where people had to step between him and somebody. That wouldn't surprise me. Listen, everything you need to know about this, other than the video itself, was revealed for you yesterday when the Warriors had the unscheduled press conference to basically say, Jordan Poole's in the clear here. Whatever else you might have heard.
It's really the only honest moment of the press conference. That Jordan did nothing wrong. That's the only thing that was put on the table that actually belongs on the table. I mean, really. Because the rest of this got framed in a manner that clearly the video reveals it was not.
Yeah, they wanted to frame it as though there wasn't a video because they probably presumed that the only video there was one that they controlled. I don't defend them bending the truth this way, but I understand why they did it. Because if they come out and go, we have a video, it looks horrendous. People are going to ask more questions, and they're trying to get fewer questions asked. I mean, right now, that press conference is almost an afterthought because it's what comes next. When Draymond Green goes back to practice, how do he and Jordan Poole square this? How does he square this again with his teammates? Because I find it interesting that we haven't heard anything else about what his schedule is going to be like. What I think we're looking at now is Steve Kerr, who would have preferred to have kept this all inside the building to start with, is now looking at Bob Myers and say, that's why I wanted this to stay inside the building.
Remember when David West said, man, there's things that have happened you guys don't even know about? I wonder if any of something like this wasn't in something like that. Guy in the 510 just texted in, Damon, you're on to something. Remember David West saying, if you only knew? Maybe this is part of that. And for the one person here, 707, saying, tell me you've never played sports past middle school without telling us. Here's Steven Jackson telling you don't know crap.
And there's no reason to sucker punch a young fella, you know what I'm saying? But I told Draymond last night, he got to fix that situation with Poole. You know what I'm saying? Because he don't benefit from it at all. He got to be the big bro and go over there and tell her, bro, look, I spazzed out. You know what I'm saying? Da-da-da-da. But you never hit the little homies like that in practice. All your teammates, man. You never do that. I've never done that, bro. Never done that.
And someone said, look, Steven Jackson's opinion doesn't hold any weight. Remember the malice at the palace? He was defending his teammates. He was defending his teammates. And Steven Jackson, you can watch the Malice at the Palace documentary, and he'll tell you straight up. He's like, I don't know who's right or wrong, but you come at one of my teammates, I'm coming after you. Full stop. I roll with my team. He didn't hit his teammates. He hit people that were throwing crap at his teammates.
He's explaining what the ethos is on a basketball team, which is you don't punch down.
You don't punch down. Let's go to the phones. I see a couple people just gave up. Sorry. We have things to say today. Now you get to say some things, too. This is Keith in San Leandro. Open lines for everyone, 888-957-9570. Nothing but calls from here until Nick Fardell. What's going on, Keith?
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Brisson, Mr. Ratto?
Oh, please, call us Damon and Ray.
Oh, disrespect. So I wanted to touch. I just wanted to touch on what you mentioned prior to your show about the Ray Rice situation. Is that it wasn't a big deal till the video came out. Like, it was all just information, right?
Right.
It was just all, you read about it, what have you. But when the video came out, that's when it was damning evidence that, okay, this is an egregious situation. So I think that's what's happening with Draymond right now. So before, with the Ravens, they probably was like, okay, we'll handle it in-house. But now that it's public, because now everybody is, what you say, visual, like social media and everything. So now that you see it, it's like, oh, okay, that was bad. Like, wow. So you have that situation. The other situation is Draymond started from just talking trash on the court to getting into it with opponents, getting into it with his coach, getting into it with KD. It just keeps escalating to a certain degree to where now you're fighting in home, at house. Like, so what's next? He's going to do a Gilbert Arenas and pull a pistol out?
Look, here's the thing. Even though that sounds ridiculous, Keith, what can you say he won't do? Like, how can you prove to me Draymond will not be an absolute bystander to his own emotions, which really, that's childhood stuff. You know who can't control his own emotions? My 3-year-old. And I want to start approaching my 3-year-old talking about how we can't act like that. And then I remember, wait a minute, he's 3. It's completely normal for him to act like that.
When you take video the first time he lays you out?
When you're 32 years old, you can't act like that. No, but here's the deal. I also believe in you got to defend your ground and all this stuff. And my wife and I are already rooting for the moment when my 1-year-old decks my 3-year-old, because my 3-year-old is absolutely picked on my 1-year-old. And the minute Ozzy's, sentient being enough to give Jack the old what for, we're going to be rooting for Ozzy in that moment.
That's going to be a Chuck E. Cheese moment.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. We'll have you there to officiate the whole thing.
Ozzy, you hit him with a meat tenderizer. Let's go out to dinner.
That's my boy. Now, look, you got to defend yourself, obviously. This was Jim in Fairfield. Jim, thank you for calling. You're on 95.7 The Game.
Hi, Damon. I just got to disagree with your premise and agree with Ray that this will be paragraph 1 on the obit of Jordan Poole when he's 6 feet under about 60 or 70 years from now. We don't know what's going to happen in the next 60 years, but there's going to be a whole bunch of people that are going to be born that won't even know who Jordan Poole is. I challenge you this, Damon. How many people can tell you what happened to Rudy Tomjanovich on a basketball court in 1977?
Well, anyone who knows the NBA and is a fan of the NBA and who studies the NBA and who knows about it. Like, I mean, I'm sorry that we live in a world where because people weren't around for the Civil War, they don't think they need to know anything about it. If you're interested in history, you will. If you're interested in the Warriors, you are going to be as interested in last year's title as any title they've ever won, which will bring you to Jordan Poole, which will bring you to, well, whatever became of that guy. And this will follow Jordan Poole's career around fairly, unfairly. That's just the way it goes. I really think that way. Now, if you're telling me we live in a world that is so, incapable of curiosity, they look backward at nothing, well, that's a sad statement to be making, and I don't even know if I disagree with you. But the only person who wouldn't equate this to part of the Jordan Poole story now is a person who didn't know the Jordan Poole story. That's it. This is now a part of his story. And it's a shame because he did very little to deserve it. Somebody actually on the Comcast Business text line says, Damon, is there anything that Jordan Poole might have said that would have actually given Draymond Green the green light to say something like that? Yeah, if he said something about his mother or his kids, I think I would wave the totally innocent bystander flag in another direction. But outside of he attacked his family verbally, and by the way, verbal attacks do not equate physical attacks, or it doesn't. Yeah, I really don't think any of this, especially, if you're Draymond Green and you're supposed to be the supreme you-know-what talker of them all. I'll tell you what Draymond Green looks like. He looks like Mr. Dish It Out can't take it. And that's weakness. By the way, welcome to your 4 o'clock hour.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app. Damn well better be free.
Yeah. Who knows that Kermit Washington got knocked out by Rudy Tomjanovich? Anyone old enough to?
You got that wrong. Kermit Washington knocked out Rudy Tomjanovich.
Excuse me, the other way around. I said it the other way around.
Didn't mean to be so strident.
Yeah, you could have said the other way around, not you got that wrong.
Yeah, but you did got that wrong.
I did get that wrong. Don't make me punch you, Ray. I swear to God, you're next.
That means you got to get off the chair.
I'm not going to get. Yeah, you're way too far away. I don't have that kind of reach.
You'll be out of breath by the time you turn the corner.
Rich in San Ramon. Hello, Rich.
Hello. Thanks for taking the call. I think Draymond's time in the Bay is gone. He's not helping the team long term. We saw him in the playoffs. We saw him in the finals. He's not helping this team. He wants to be an enforcer. Get him in the NHL. He wants to play that rough. He should have played with the Raiders in the 80s. Come on.
Look, I can tell you this, Rich. Here's the thing, and here's the balancing act that the Warriors are actually trying to pull off. Draymond Green 100% helps this team win. Draymond Green 100% was a huge factor on the winning end of the NBA Finals. Draymond Green, just the basketball player, is an absolute force of nature that we can't help but be very happy is, on the side of the Golden State Warriors. You want a guy like that when the game matters most. I can't say anything about Draymond Green, the basketball player, but I think I've known enough now about Draymond Green, the person, to where his basketball playing abilities is no longer the only lens I see him through. I can't just defend him as, Defensive Player of the Year candidate. So brass knuckles for everyone, teammates included. Like you can't say that. I think he's absolutely hurt his standing here in the Bay Area. I think he absolutely is going to be more poorly received than before now, because everyone is always a victim of, what's the last, what'd you do for me? What have you done for me lately? Here's the deal, Ray. Let me just forget about that. Let me just say it like this. The Golden State Warriors go on to win the NBA championship this year. No big deal. We'll not talk about this on that night. If they don't win the NBA championship this year, this is going to be the first piece of evidence submitted is, what do you think went wrong with the Warriors that year? I mean, whatever injury that could have occurred in the season, but they're going to go right on back to, man, that whole season got off to a really weird feeling because of what Draymond did 2 weeks before the season even started. So anything less than a repeat will be laid on Draymond's door.
He'll catch some of it. It depends.
But there'll be other reasons too, I'm sure.
Oh, no, there's going to be 100 other reasons, because there are 180 days between now and the day they get knocked out. But, what if he and Poole suddenly become best buds? I'm not saying that that's a likely outcome, but if they both come out and just go, stuff happened, we're good, and they show that they're good, then it will be glossed over.
So Absolutely. There is only one way out of this. when Draymond does go to face the media, Jordan Poole's got to be on the dais with him with his arm around him saying, I'm over it, we're good.
And that might happen.
And if it doesn't happen, it ain't over and it might not be good. But if it does happen, man, Jordan Poole, what an adult you look like sitting next to the child that is Draymond Green.
Well, I mean, exactly. I mean, the thing is, there are a lot of ways this can go. They are not all pointed toward Draymond Green is ruined and Jordan Poole is marked as the guy who got punched in the head. They could both come out of this looking more adult than they have. I mean, that there are so many ways that all these stories sort of break into different components and fragments that you only look like a fool if you go, I know how this ends. Because there's about a million ways it can end. And the first big step is, like you said, the first Draymond Green podium. You know,
if Jordan Poole's with him, he is bailing that guy out of
absolutely
a sinking ship.
And you know what that gets him? Cred with Stephen Curry.
You bet it does.
And say
Bob
whatever
Myers,
else you want.
and Joe Lacob, and everyone who might be in charge of that next check he's looking at.
Yeah, but I think the check is separate because he's in charge of that. I mean, I think the Warriors clearly would like him back. But I think he is also a guy who says, you know what? I got other options and I'm going to look at them. And that will be his choice. And I don't think it'll be because I don't want to play with Draymond Green anymore. It'll be because I can go to a team, make more money than I can here, and be the centerpiece, which may really appeal to him.
Martial Arts John in Richmond. What's going on, Martial Arts John?
Damon, Shabbat Shalom, my brother. Ray, happy Festivus, or whatever. Thanks for taking my call. Love the show, you guys. I'm just going to put a hot take in here. I teach kickboxing. I just want to say, when he threw that hook, left hand down, hips squared up, horrible punch. The other thing I wanted to say is, I think the only way to move past this, and to not have a disaster of a season with this influencing it, is for us to give this a little bit of time and move on. I think of Jordan Poole. I just see him. I see the cockiness just dripping right off of him, and I see Draymond, and we all know Draymond. So none of this really surprises me. This stuff happens. Michael Jordan punched Curry in the face, as we've talked about on this station all day. It just doesn't really faze me that much. It's not a good look, but for the sake of the team, and yes, Draymond does still help us. He didn't have a great finals, but Lord, that guy has a lot of playing left in him, I believe. For the sake of the team, I think the Warriors should give this a week or two. There needs to be a huge apology on Draymond's part, and there needs to be some type of humor involved in the whole getting over this. This cannot sit through the season. And I think that if they handle it correctly and they know how to solve things, just like I teach my kids when they start sparring too hard, to shake hands and smile, they can get through this, and it might bring everyone even closer together. That's my take. I think we should.
That's definitely the rosiest lens to look at all this through. And hey, for the sake of the Warriors season, Martial Arts, John, I hope you're right. I hope that Jordan Poole can be the adult that Draymond Green can't be counted on being. And if that is what happens, that's a way out of this. By the way, speaking of out of this, Mike Brown just commented on Fox 40 up in Sacramento about this. Mike, what do you think about Draymond Green hitting Jordan Poole?
I'm not there. That's their problem, that they got to figure out or sort out. And that's kind of how I look at it.
There you go.
He is now an official Kings employee.
Well, he sure is, but have you ever heard anyone who is an official Kings employee sound relieved that they're not a Golden State Warriors employee at this particular time? There you go. That's the real damage done here. The Kings are laughing at the Warriors.
Well, more than that, he's taking at least a bit of competitive glee at this, because he's going, you know what? We've been holding their lunch bucket for 17 years now. Maybe this puts them a little bit back on their heels. Maybe we could sneak a win from them. Maybe we get to be 10th instead of 12th for a time.
By the way, you're right. But can I just ask another question? If practice fights are as common as a fresh pair of underwear, I mean, practice fights are that common. It happens all the time. All the time. How come the one we reference is from 30 years ago? Michael Jordan and Steve Kerr. How come there isn't another one? If this is so common, how come every single NBA season isn't dotted with, well, did you hear about that fight that the Phoenix Suns had? Did you hear what happened at Orlando Magic practice? Did you hear what happened with the Sixers today? Like, none of that. There's none of that. How come the only other practice fight we got is from 30 years ago?
I have an answer for that, because they probably are fairly common. This is not common. Draymond Green walking up and hitting a guy who's not expecting to get hit. That's not common.
Right.
Everybody understands that. But I would bet there have been a lot of fists thrown in practices.
Tell me about one of them, though. Well, give me the details of anything.
Let me finish
the details.
Let me finish my point. You know about the Jordan Kerr one because A, Kerr's brought it up, and B, it was in a documentary.
Right, it's part of the myth-making of Michael Jordan.
Okay, what I'm saying is most of the time these get handled quietly and everybody moves on from them. That's why I suspect you don't hear about them. We heard about this because A, there was a video, B, the Warriors had a press conference to deal with it, and C, it's egregious even by football fights because one guy walked up and laid out another guy. You know, it wasn't really a fight if you want to get right down to it. So I believe practice fights happen they're common, let me put it that way. This wasn't a fight. This was a punch. And there's a difference.
Every single line we have is lit right now. Stay there. When we come on back, we are going to say hello to Nick Fardell, who obviously covers the NBA, covered the Warriors for years, and is probably the guy who's going to ask Kevin Durant what he actually thinks about all this, if he hasn't already. So stay tuned. You're coming up. Nick Fardell's coming up. An awful lot's happening here on 95.7 The Game, brought to you by Lucky California.
At Lucky California, every day is full of fresh possibilities everywhere you look at a price that will always fit your budget. This week, red or green grapes are just $1.49 per pound. Shop all of the fantastic weekly deals at Lucky California. Come see what's fresh.
Watch Niners Panthers on Sunday.
Touchdown, San Francisco. Pick six.
And listen to 95.7 The Game on Monday.
Through the first month, I can't say one negative thing about the defense right now.
This defense been
not
playing
one negative thing.
This defense has been playing at a high level. They are ready to roll.
The only place to be after each 49ers game.
Oh yeah.
95.7 The Game.
Dr. Trudy Fleer here with the 5G Home Recovery Podcast. Let's discuss a very real existential threat to internet speed. It's a big one. Ready? T-Mobile Home Internet. It lags. Ugh. Now, what is lag? Lag is a delay in data being transmitted across the internet. For example, you're hitting that hot drop, the parachute cuts out, you've got an unsuspecting bot in your sights, and lag! You were actually eliminated 10 seconds ago. Nobody deserves that. So stop letting T-Mobile Home Internet ruin everything and switch to Xfinity. Learn more at xfinity.com/TMOFax.
Get an amazing value on Xfinity Internet with unlimited data included. Switch for $55 a month for 2 full years with no annual contract required and no equipment fees for 24 months. Go to xfinity.com/TMOFax, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to learn more. Requires paperless billing and autopay. Ends 10/17/22. Restrictions apply. New fast internet and xFi Complete customers only. xFi Gateway required. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. After 24 months, regular rates apply to all services and devices.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you might be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com/sports, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com/sports. That's getrefunds.com/sports.
This is your time to cash in at Cache Creek Casino Resort. To rock and to roll. Over the hills and bluffs. Go all out or go all in. With 4 stars and rising stars. Now we do more than ever, so you can do as much or as little as you want. It's your time to cash in at Cache Creek Casino Resort.
At the UPS Store, we know this upcoming holiday is when things can get busy for small business owners.
Exactly. My to-do list and I don't take days off.
That's why you can count on us to be open and ready to help with every small business need, whether it's packing and shipping or if it's just to check your mailbox.
That's almost everything on my to-do list. My list and I can take the day off.
Your local, the everything to help you be unstoppable store. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable. The UPS Store locations are independently owned. Product, services, pricing, and hours may vary. See Center for details.
Festivals, football, flannels. Some say fall is their favorite time of year. And this fall, there are now updated COVID-19 booster shots designed to help protect against COVID-19 variants. If you've had your primary series, schedule an updated COVID-19 booster shot appointment as soon as you're eligible. And don't forget to enjoy the foliage. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Kelley Blue Book is the one-stop shop for pricing, fixing, selling, and instant cash offering. Instant Cash Offer is exactly what it sounds like. An official offer to buy or trade your car. Just enter your VIN or license plate, answer a few questions about your car's history, and what kind of condition it's in. In minutes, you'll receive an offer to sell or trade your car that you can be sure is fair. Then choose a dealer to purchase your car and schedule a time to meet. For all of the its, kbb.com.
Fremont Bank. If there's one thing we understand more than anybody, it's that it takes a local bank to really get the needs of local businesses. And more than anything, local businesses need access. Access to a knowledgeable banker and access to a full suite of business services. Can't come to the bank? We'll come to you. Our devotion to our clients ensures your business never misses a beat. That's why Fremont Bank remains the right choice for local and family-owned businesses. Learn more at fremontbank.com. Member FDIC.
Los Gatos clear tonight with an overnight low of 59.
Weather brought to you by Pfizer and BioNTech. Whether it's the news, the traffic, the weather, or your COVID-19 vaccinations, it's important to stay up to date.
Elton John's Farewell Yellow Brick Road Tour continues with 2 shows at Levi Stadium on October 8th and 9th. For more info and tickets, head to 957thegame.com/events.
Now back to Damon and Ratto, brought to you by BMW Fairfield on 95.7 The Game.
It's good to have you here on 95.7 The Game. Thanks for tuning in. If you're actually watching this whole thing go down on YouTube, that gorgeous punum that has just come into the frame belongs to Nick Fardell, who we obviously became very close with when he was out here covering the Golden State Warriors. He's now off in Brooklyn covering the Nets, but whenever anything happens around the NBA, I always want to hear from Nick. And Nick, I don't know if you heard, but practice has not been going smoothly with the Golden State Warriors. Hello, my friend. How are you?
It just always makes me feel good when I click on these Zooms, Damon, because I see you guys and I see my man Ray, and I smile thinking about all the time that we did have together. But yeah, I got the word that practice hasn't been going too great out there in the Bay. And there's a lot to discuss.
The situation that the Warriors presented yesterday, and then the situation as we now understand it, thanks to the TMZ releasing of the video, are two different things. I think there's a lot of bad looking going on around here. So let's just start with your impressions of the video, Nick. What jumped out to you as, the most egregious thing, lesser egregious things, if you want to start ranking what you think went wrong?
The video itself, Damon, was awful. Awful. And to be real clear, and all three of us have been in this a long time now, this happens a lot in practices all over the NBA. This kind of stuff is part of the deal when you have competitive people trying to do their best and they get tired sometimes of each other. I was in Chicago when Bobby Portis straight up knocked out Niko Mirotic, sent him to the hospital. There is a line that gets crossed when this happens.
All right, I'm glad you were able to bring that up because, we're still citing, Jordan once hit Steve Kerr, and to me, if this happened so much, we'd have a reference from other than 30 years ago. I do remember Bobby Portis and Niko Mirotic, who are not normally on the front of my mind, but yes, right. I do remember that. Somebody here is trying to bring up, hey, what about, when the Rockets went to storm the Clippers locker room? Well, that was shut down by a locked door, so nothing really happened there. I mean, I would say that an awful lot of that, I would imagine, Nick, stems from actual practice, like bodies banging against each other. Mm-hmm. These were two guys who were standing on the sidelines.
And, Damon, that's the difference because Draymond just cold-cocked him. And as far as the Warriors are concerned and Draymond is concerned, that's the issue. This got taken to a completely different level and place with the release of that video because we can all sit here and say, this happens in practice, and guys get into it, and you see, or I should say you hear about these kind of things occurring. What you don't see is the video getting out there and the build-up, because you're right. In a lot of cases, it's, two guys were going back and forth on the floor, and it just kept getting a little bigger, and somebody snapped. What you don't see is two guys on the sidelines, usually, or hear about, and Draymond walking over the way he did. The Warriors culture, guys, is as strong as any that I've come across, frankly, in pro sports, but certainly in the NBA. After something like this, though, and I know you all have been going through it for the last 24 hours, you just wonder how much of it can take when you see that video, and then you have to deal with the fallout of not only what occurred, but the point is absolutely spot on because there was one version of what the team wanted you to know, and then there's the reality of what the video showed, and that's where the narrative is going to change now in how everything has to be handled.
Let me ask the nerd question then. How many people outside the people in basketball operations get to watch a Warrior practice now? Because that video came from A, inside the building, and B, presumably inside the organization. I mean, do they let guests come in and watch practice anymore?
Guests can come in there. When I was out there, Ray, and I can only speak to my time and maybe what I've seen across the league through the years, there are guests in practice. But everybody is going to have a different opinion on the video. What I've heard just in the couple conversations that I've had is it seems like it was a security video. In other words, somebody got it through some security camera and sent it to somebody they trusted, and maybe that's where things started to break down. The Warriors have to figure that out because that changes, again, the tenor of this whole ordeal for the organization and for Draymond. It was a fight between two teammates who had grown close through time, and now it's something different. But, Ray, there are guests in NBA practices. The Warriors have had guests in there before. It happens. But this was not somebody's iPhone video that was standing there running through what was happening. This was somebody on the inside, and who knows where it landed, but it landed in the wrong place, and it made it a much, much bigger headache for all parties involved within the organization and left them open to a hell of a lot more questions.
Nick, I've been saying whoever shows up as a video coordinator in a Range Rover on Monday, that's your guy. That's who leaked it. What do you think the going rate is on TMZ for a video like this?
It's anyone's guess, but when I saw that thing this morning, I went, all right, this was more than $5 or $10 grand.
Oh, yeah.
When you have that type of evidence to stuff, whew, I was thinking on a low end, maybe 50, but it's all a guess at this point.
I mean, to me, you'd have to be buying me out of my potential career in the NBA, because if this did come from the inside, that's someone who wanted to work in the NBA.
When you sold video, what did you charge?
Yeah, when you leak stuff.
No chance.
Nick Fardell
Not a chance.
here on 95.7 The Game. So we all know that this league, the ultimate where the rubber meets the road is the talent that you have and the basketball that you play. So where do you think Draymond actually stands in the Warriors' eyes right now? Because, Jim Harbaugh used to call guys trusted agents. I don't know if he's a trusted agent, but he is a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. So it's not like this is a player that you can be comfortable just saying, get out of here. We'll be just the same. We'll be just as good with you, if not better, than without you. Like, he's not that guy. So where do you think the Warriors, if they are going to circle back to like discipline beyond this weekend's practice, what do you think happens?
Damon, if I'm the Warriors, the answer to your question is actually very simple. You go to Steph Curry and you say, Steph, what do you think should take place here? Because nobody is more respected up and down that organization more than Steph is. And Steph has the read of the room. He sets the tone in so many different ways for everything that occurs on and off the floor. And he's extremely close to Draymond. And he is extremely close to all the other guys because everybody looks up to him so much. So as important of a voice as Andre can be, or Kevon Looney, or Clay, guys who have been there, to me, if I'm running things, you're listening to everybody, sure. But you're talking to Steph and you're saying, hey, what do you think we need to do here? And however Steph decides it needs to be handled, that's how you handle it. But again, and I know you all have been hammering this point home, I'm looking at it from the outside and I'm saying, all right, as usual, 24 hours ago, the Warriors have kind of made this not go away, but they've said we're handling it internally. You put Steph and Bob and Steve Kerr up there, and you deal with it as publicly as you can in the moment, but everything shifts now. But you go to Steph and you say, this is your guy. We love Draymond, but is the juice worth the squeeze? With everything on both fronts that has to take place for him to play at his highest level and to be the guy this team needs him to be. And Steph Curry is the leader of the group and the guy that should have that answer.
Is that something you think that he is inherently comfortable with? I'm not asking you if that's a responsibility that he would accept, but would he do it cheerfully and eagerly, or would he be very reluctant to do so?
I think only in my time around him, Ray, that he would be reluctant because he is so close to Draymond. But Steph is also incredibly smart. He is very perceptive. So as much as he loves Draymond, he also is well aware over the years of how much Draymond can wear on people. I mean, talk to anybody in that organization. They appreciate the hell out of what Draymond Green has done for this team. But they also know there's that other side. Don't piss off Draymond. And certainly nobody thought that somebody would get almost knocked out, but it was always that line. I thought it was best exemplified, at least on a public level. That first year I was there, at the end of that first season, the last one with Kevin Durant, and the camera caught Steve Kerr, and he said, I'm so tired of his bleep. I mean, he was speaking for more than one person there. There's stuff that you deal with Draymond because you know that your team in the end is better off because of what he provides. But this was the question 2 or 3 years ago. It is the question now. Are you better off having to deal with all the stuff that you have to deal with, or at some point do you just say it's not worth it anymore? But Ray, to the point about Steph, I'm sure he'd be uncomfortable. He knows what Draymond brings. He is exceptionally close to Draymond from a basketball perspective, but he's also the leader of the team, and he is the guy that sets the tone for everybody else. So he might be uncomfortable with it, but this is why he is Steph Curry, and this is why he's on a max deal and is going to be the face of this franchise from now and forevermore.
Nick Fardell, our pal from ESPN, joining us here on 95.7 The Game. So, it makes you rethink everything. Like, what was David West talking about when he said, you have no idea what we've been through as a team? Like, how much has this team carried water for Draymond Green in unleaked incidences like this? I don't think we'll ever really know. At some point, you, Nick, I'm guessing are going to ask Kevin Durant what he thinks of all this. If you haven't already, what sort of glee or schadenfreude or maybe actual sadness do you think Kevin Durant looks at this entire situation with?
My guess is, Damon, as open as Kevin usually is, he's going to say, oh, well, that's their thing, and you don't want to see anybody get hurt like that. Kevin and Draymond, for as bad as things were at the beginning of that last season, my first there after the eruption at Staples, I don't think people ever gave them enough credit for it was icy, absolutely, but they got through it. They were sick of answering all those questions all that time over and over and over again, but as a pair, they made their way through, and as we saw in that podcast from a summer ago, clearly have kind of moved forward in their relationship. As far as KD goes, though, he knows what it's like. But I tell you, anybody, and Clay, I saw a quote pop up the other day from Clay. I think it was from Media Day. It's, part of being a Warrior is part of it is getting yelled at by Draymond. It's just kind of accepted within the culture. But you can't sell culture, and have this type of episode. And this is where things just went to a different place. And whatever set Draymond off, you can't knock out anybody that you work with. I do think the Warriors can move forward through this. I do believe, having covered the team, that the culture is strong enough. But that's not even the question to me. The question is, do you want to still move forward with Draymond year after year after year? And that's something that Bob Myers and Joe Lacob and Kerr have to answer with Steph. And that's where it gets really dicey, because everybody understands how important Draymond can be, but you got Jonathan Kuminga there who easily could just kind of slide into that role, you would think, over time, and then you just kind of wash your hands of the mess that this is.
There are some options now that weren't there just a season ago.
And the mess that could be forthcoming if this relationship persists through time.
One of the dynamics of the Durant-Green thing was the fact that they were essentially contemporaries, or roughly the same age. They'd experienced this the same way. This is not one of those times. I mean, Draymond Green is an 11-year veteran. Jordan Poole's now in his 4th year. Does that make it harder, or how much harder does that make that? Because the Warriors are on this 2-track plan where they've got essentially a team of youngins and a team of old veterans. I mean, how much harder does it become to navigate that?
It's tough, Ray. And as you say that, I still can't believe they won that title last year on those 2 tracks. It's like the bonus title that I don't even believe they thought was coming at this point. But as difficult as it would be, and as much as Draymond has meant to the organization in winning those 4 titles, I don't think it's as tough as it may appear to be in the moment, because when you're looking at who can help this team more in the future, the answer is abundantly clear. It's Jordan Poole. And if you're going to give him that contract, and who knows what happens with all the money, I know there's a lot of different layers to that as well. If you're committing to Draymond or Jordan Poole for years to come, that one is very easy. You're committing to Jordan Poole. So that might be tough for the older group, the Steph and Clays, to come to grips with, but maybe not, because they know full well just how good Poole has been, just how much they figure he can still improve. And even before this episode, everybody knew that Draymond was going the wrong direction strictly from a playing standpoint. So there are a lot of different reasons why things could go off track. But as far as that decision on where to go with the older guy who's helped you get there or the younger guy who wants to help pushing you to the next title, Ray, that one's easy, at least where I sit. You go with Poole and you don't look back.
Just popped into my mind, ayahuasca. That can save this. Let's get all the Warriors together, one big drum circle, ayahuasca for maybe Draymond only, and that should calm everyone down. Nick, thank you for joining us. You're one of the first persons I thought of wanting to talk about this today. Thanks for being a late ad, man.
Always, and I throw this one just as we get out of here, Damon. Draymond has an immense amount of respect in that room, but when you cross that line, you just wonder if everybody else is now sitting there going, maybe this is it. And we're not going to find out in the next day or two, but this is a hell of a starting point on a year where they genuinely believe that they have a chance to repeat.
Watch Ron Adams in that video. Watch the look on Ron Adams' face, the way he puts his hands on his hips. He can't believe it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, here we go again. Yep. Nick, thank you so much, man.
Guys, I miss you. I'll talk to you later.
Let us know when you're back in the Bay. Always great to talk to Nick Fardell here on 95.7 The Game. Really good stuff. Again, he's right. Fights happen. Guys do get hit. I wonder if, Mirotic and Bobby Portis were actually playing basketball at the time, because neither Draymond Green nor Jordan Poole were playing basketball at the time of. And I've been hesitant to call it an assault. I know you've been saying it's an assault. To me, it's an assault that comes without any legality attached to it. I've never been a believer in let's call the cops to solve this sports issue. But it's getting close to that.
It's not a sports issue, the way that blow was thrown. And it's not in that.
It was not in the heat of competition.
It wasn't in the heat of competition. And more to the point, it was as off the floor as you can be. I mean, it's almost like getting hit in the hallway. So in that way, yeah, I think it would come under the definition of assault. I don't think charges will be filed. In fact, I think I
even saw a follow-up that said the San Francisco police are not investigating.
They're not, yeah. So, I mean, the Warriors are handling that part internally. But, I mean, it does fall under the technical definition of assault. That much is true. And I'm not trying to inflame this by using that, but it's different than most athletic fights in that, two guys get heated and they're going at each other at the same time. It's still not great, but it does happen a fair amount of time because tempers get involved. This was 1v0. That's what this was. And that's what makes it separate and different.
Michael is in Oakland. Thanks for holding, Michael. You're on 95.7 The Game. What do you got?
This was 1v0. That's what this was.
Oh, Michael, and I appreciate
that guy for what he just said.
Oh, extra Ratto. It's like Ratto calling into the show. Oh.
I literally would put a bullet in my eye.
Joe in San Jose. Hello, Joe.
Hey, how you guys doing? Thanks for taking my call. But the part I don't understand, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
The part I don't understand, the NBA is a business, like any other business, but you guys seem to think differently. And then I want to ask you guys one question. If Draymond had hit Steph Curry, knocked him out, what would your guys' punishment be different than if it was, would it be different than if it was like Jordan Poole?
Well, let me ask you this. Let me just ask you this. I'm going to answer your question with a question back. Is there a difference between attacking a random stranger on the street or the president? I mean, there are levels to this. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I do think that things would be much different if the person being struck by Draymond Green were Steph Curry and not Jordan Poole. I don't think Draymond Green is employed by the Golden State Warriors today.
No,
if that's what's happening.
No, I think that's very true.
Yeah, you don't come at the king.
Yeah. That said, let's reverse it, though. If Steph Curry hits Draymond Green in the same way that Draymond Green hit Jordan Poole, I think the reaction ought to be the same because it's still, you're hitting a defenseless guy, even if he's bigger.
It would be totally out of line.
Yeah.
It would have been totally out of line. For that interaction to happen, I don't think it really matters the status or the characters being changed because it's the action, not who is performing the action. That's the moment of a line being crossed.
But you're right that if Stephen Curry was playing the Jordan Poole role here, there would not be a discussion about this. The press conference yesterday would have been, we're releasing Draymond Green.
Is there a big difference between rear-ending a Honda Civic and rear-ending a cop? Yes, there is.
Yeah, I mean,
big difference.
I mean, that's the cynical part of it. But that's why I reversed it so that it wasn't a superstar gets hit. It just, the way that played out, the same definitions apply and the same punishments should apply.
We have an awful lot still happening today. If you are on hold, you stay right there. Don't you go anywhere. An awful lot of this TMZ video, your reaction, our reaction, some sound yesterday from Steph Curry that we did not have for you, but today we do have for you. A little quick conversation that we had yesterday right off the rip with Tim Kawakami. Interesting things said there. And then how much difference this all looks now as opposed to yesterday, thanks to the video that came out. It kind of changed everything for sure. And dare we spend 5 minutes talking just a little 49ers football? They are playing. I don't believe this game has been canceled in Carolina. So
damn it.
We will. Yeah. Now look at it this way. If we have any video of Draymond Green sucker punching Jimmy Garoppolo, we're just going to have to go home. Like we'll just open up the station to callers. You can just have people come on in and talk.
Don't threaten me.
Damon and Ratto here
I'll
on
make one up.
95.7 The Game. A pal, Kyle Bailey, who is a sports talk radio host in Charlotte, is going to stop on by with a stat that you got to hear if you're a Niner fan. It sounds an awful lot like victory could be coming your way on this one stat alone. Don't you go anywhere. Damon and Ratto, brought to you by Fremont Bank, full service banking, no compromises.
1, 2, 3, can the Niners make it 2 in a row?
Right up the gut, Wilson, goodbye, touchdown, 49ers.
Niners.
They're down at 9, Bosa, the sack.
Panthers.
7 to the end zone, McCaffrey, touchdown.
The best pre- and post-game coverage is right here on 95.7 The Game.
Alice at 97.3 is celebrating the return of Alice in Winterland. Friday, December 2nd at the SAP Center in San Jose. Starring John Mayer. One Republic.
See you at Alice in Winterland.
Matt Nathanson. Plus more to be added. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster. Get everything Alice in Winterland at radioalice.com.
Hi, I'm Aaron, owner of California Deluxe Windows. Ever notice? When your neighbors get new windows, there is a large black eye of broken stucco, uneven plaster, and even mismatched paint. At California Deluxe Windows, we never leave a ring around the window. Why? Because we are one of the only companies in California who custom crafts every window and door to your home's exact measurements. Almost everyone else on the radio is a distributor. They grab a window from a warehouse, break open your walls, shove it in, and patch things up. At California Deluxe Windows, we take pride in our work. Our installation technique is so precise, we do not break your stucco. Your house could be covered with potato chips, and we wouldn't crack one.
Call now, and for a limited time, you get 30% off your entire order and 24 months of interest-free financing. 800-874-3600. 800-874-3600. That's 800-874-3600. California Deluxe Windows. Windows engineered for life.
Certain terms and conditions apply. CSLB number 774518.
The following is an attorney advertisement. If you get sidelined by a workplace injury, the workers' compensation attorneys at Boxer & Gerson can help get you back in the game. Our team of skilled attorneys will fight by your side for the treatment and compensation you deserve. We care about justice for injured workers. That's what makes us Northern California's premier workers' comp law firm. Call Boxer & Gerson at 510-345-2341 or visit boxerlaw.com for a free consultation. Boxer & Gerson, your life is worth the fight.
Hi, welcome to the IKEA Fall Savings Event.
Hey, I'm checking off my fall to-do list. I've got apple picking done. Now I need a cozy rug for cider tasting night.
Well, we've got offers on rugs, lighting, and more. And as an IKEA family member, you'll save $20 when you spend $200 or more pre-tax.
Great. Now I actually have to make cider.
Visit us in-store or at IKEA-USA.com/fall savings event to get ready and save. Offer valid 10/7 to 10/10 in the U.S. Discount applied proportionally across items purchased as shown on receipt. See store and IKEA-USA.com/fall savings event for complete terms and restrictions.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
Every search you make, every click you take, they'll be watching you.
Are you tired of being tracked online? There's a simple solution. DuckDuckGo. It's an all-in-one privacy app with a built-in private search engine, web browser, one-click data clearing, email protection, and more, all for free. Download the app today and get the most comprehensive privacy protection with the push of a button. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Do you think all premium fuels are the same? Well, your engine doesn't. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus helps keep your engine running like new because it's engineered to defend against 4 main engine threats: gunk, wear, corrosion, and friction. So next time, choose Shell's most advanced fuel ever. It's fuel for thought. In engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline.
You're the one who protects the flock, and that requires an eye for detail. Because when safety and well-being are on the line, it's the details that can save lives. Even when no one else is watching, you see everything. Grainger gets you, and we're here for you, and all the ones who get it done with a wide range of safety products and solutions, plus board-certified safety consultants here to answer your questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, it's Tiki Barber. When part of your offense isn't firing on all cylinders, it shows. And sometimes the only solution is to replace that part with something new. It's true on a championship team, and it's also true with cars. That's why I love eBay Motors. They have all the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. That way you can get the parts you need to make your car a winner. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Now back to Damon and Ratto, brought to you by BMW Fairfield on 95.7 The Game.
Welcome back, and if you're on hold to talk Warriors about the video that we all saw today on TMZ, we are going to get right back to you. But there is an actual NFL weekend coming up, and the 49ers are in Charlotte with an opportunity to win a game that should be winnable just based on what the Niners are playing like right now and how the I almost called them the Hornets. We got a lot of NBA on our mind. How the Panthers are playing right now. The king of afternoon drive in Charlotte, the man on WFNZ is Kyle Bailey, and we did a home and home. I actually went on his show just the other day. And Kyle, let me ask you about your show. How much have you actually been talking about Draymond Green and the punch of Jordan Poole now that we've all seen the video?
So glad you asked. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I led the show with it today. And that's, leading with something 3,000 miles away isn't the norm in our business. But, yeah, that was obviously notable and newsworthy enough to do so. I'm sure that your audience has had a field day with that. It's an unfortunate incident, but we've seen these things over the years, or really we haven't. I think that's part of the story here, too. But you get the video, it's ugly, it's visceral, and I'm sure the reaction out there has been about the same.
Is there, well, give us the sense. I mean, because I would assume that every caller and the entire show has been, Draymond Green is a fool and a lunatic. But were there any nuances to the argument at all, or was it strictly, we're Team Poole?
I mean, for me, yeah. I mean, when you get into locker room dynamics and the fact that Jordan Poole's going to have to wear that both inside and outside the locker room. And I mean, he had his manhood not just challenged, but tested in a big way. And that's a thing that I think we all, at least on some level, do relate to. And like, Draymond Green hit a guy who's 40, 50 pounds lighter than him. I don't think he had any thought that Jordan Poole was going to test him. And part of that was, maybe Jordan Poole showing respect to the veteran. Like, hey, man, I don't want to fight you. It's just ugly. It's unfortunate. And I'm curious to ask you two, if you don't mind, what the overwhelming reaction has been out there, because I have been really curious. I popped into your station throughout the day, but I haven't been able to stay very long.
There is quite an awful lot of the defense of Draymond Green has never gotten quieter. You know what I mean? Like, everyone out here has carried a lot of water for Draymond Green. I think a lot of people put that bucket down today and said, if he's a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, fantastic. But important part of the team beyond that, a leader, someone to be admired, harder to find right now. Harder to find out.
I don't mean to interject. I mean, it's just bottom line for me. I thought it was a punk move, unbecoming of a guy who's supposed to be a leader.
Yeah.
And an abuse of that leadership position. So I totally understand that.
I want to talk a little bit about the leadership position of the Carolina Panthers. Who is more responsible for the disappointing start to the year? Is it Baker Mayfield or is it Matt Rule?
I got to be honest with you, it's Baker Mayfield. That's not to say that Matt Rule has been perfect. No coach is, and Matt Rule certainly not. But, this team has shown a lot of confidence in other areas. The defense has been improving, and the expectations were they'd be very good, and they're getting close to that. So, special teams have been really solid. The running game is there when Ben McAdoo is willing to use it. But I'll be honest with you, Baker Mayfield has been spectacularly bad at times. There have been wide receivers running open down the field. He's been unwilling to just get the ball out of his hands, and he looks very indecisive. He's fleeing pretty good pockets. I mean, this offensive line is performing certainly well enough to win, very well at times, and it's just been maddening to watch. So, everybody shares a little bit in this game. It's the ultimate team game, but right now, Baker Mayfield owns the lion's share of the blame for their start.
The King of Charlotte, Kyle Bailey, joining us here on 95.7 The Game. I don't have one more question. I would like you to share the statistic that you shared with me when I was coming on your show, because as I told you, the Niners are rolling into your town with a monster defense, but an offense that's only averaging 17 points per game so far this year. And you told me what you're about to tell the audience, and I felt a lot better about the Niners' chances of winning this game.
Yeah, when I didn't realize the Niners were averaging 17 points per game. And if you can believe it, and some of your audience may not, and I bet a lot of them Googled to make sure that I'm right about this, but I am. Matt Rule is 1-26 as head coach of the Panthers when the opposing team scores 17 or more points. So I'd say the Niners are well equipped to come in and get a win on Sunday if it continues to be that's all it takes to beat the Matt Rule-led Carolina Panthers.
Wow, 1-26. That's pretty overwhelming. We have been overwhelmed by a story that has actually knocked the 49ers to page 2, and that is significant because really nothing does that out here. So that's what we're dealing with. Kyle, thank you for just giving us a minute of your time today. Certainly appreciate it. Thank you so much. And anything you ever need from the Bay, you give me a call, and you're my guy in Charlotte forever, man. Thank you so much.
Goes both ways. I appreciate y'all having me. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much, Kyle Bailey. You ever need anything, Panthers or Hornets, that's your guy.
Or you could just send us some beer.
What a fantastic voice, too. Guy's got a radio pipes.
Yeah. Jesus.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's been a long week.
Back this truck out of the cul-de-sac. I dare you.
Thank you. You had to say sack, didn't you? Oh, boy. 888-957-9570. Thanks again to Kyle Bailey. Somebody says, hey, our local NBC News just aired the Draymond punch at the beginning of the newscast. Not the sports part, the newscast. This is big.
Well, it's either that or Fleet Week.
Airplanes and boats. I do like both. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, no boats are sinking. Fleet Week comes every year. Draymond Green doing this is a first.
Or maybe it's not a first, which kind of brings us back to losing some credibility. And God almighty, God almighty, what was David West talking about years ago when he was saying, you don't know what we've been through as a team, what has happened behind closed doors in practice and locker rooms? I wonder if he wasn't referring to something that, again, we just don't know, but it was about Draymond. And Draymond Green does not get extended house credit. Just, you walk into the casino, here's your marker, sir, great to have you back. Not anymore. I think the only real way out of this for Draymond is to have Jordan Poole rise above a maturity level that Draymond Green is capable of, sit next to him at his apology tour press conference, put his arm around him and say, I'm still on Team Draymond. If Jordan Poole does that, not only will Jordan Poole come out of this smelling like a rose, he will have all moral superiority over Draymond Green for the rest of his life. And it's the only life vest that could be thrown to Draymond Green that anyone will actually say matters.
But it's also the one thing that the rest of the team needs to be able to say, well, we're still one unit. Because if he wants to let this linger and fester and turn it into a young guys versus old guys, his team's done. I mean, for as much as they have put into, the idea that there is a culture here that is different than other places, that would be a sign that, no, this is a culture that's like a lot of places and most of them are bad. So there's a lot on Jordan Poole here. And I think he's got to do this. I don't think he can afford,
whether he believes it or not.
Yeah, he's got to A, believe it, and B, sell it.
Right. He needs to sell it. It's the only way to stop this from being a conversation right up to tip-off of opening night, which, again, Draymond Green is apparently, unless the Warriors reverse their decision on their discipline, he will be their opening night. Like, when I saw that video today on TMZ, I thought, having seen the video, I am now absolutely comfortable with suspending Draymond Green for ring night. What I thought couldn't happen, now to me totally could happen, and the Warriors would be justified for doing it. To me, the Warriors do look a little bit bad on this. Steve Kerr and Bob Myers and Steph, who was a little complicit in yesterday's press conference, both tried to pull the, we got this, not much to see here, normal practice fight. The video that we see is anything other than a normal practice fight. Somebody on the Comcast Business text line 650 says, nice, so Damon, every issue now is laid at Draymond Green's feet? It's called benefit of the doubt. And he no longer has it. He no longer gets benefit of the doubt. Draymond Green can absolutely be the presumptive reason why things didn't go right, and he's been proven to be that in the past. He's also proven the other bit of that. Again, he is a spectacular defender. But at what point does spectacular defender no longer become worth the squeeze that gets you that juice? At what point does Draymond's defensive prowess get canceled out by the decent defense other guys playing instead of him provide, plus they're all scoring like 14 to 18 points a night? So, if Draymond was responsible for no points, a handful of assists, and a lot of defense, how about somebody be responsible for a little bit of defense, some assists too, and actual points? Like, don't you kind of get the same balancing act if you have that? The options that the Warriors did not seem to have, they now have. They now have those options. And that's why I think Draymond Green has got his status threatened, and he got caught looking like he is an insecure boob in this whole thing.
But as of this moment, the thing that he's got to prove, more than anything else, is how flexible he can be about his leadership. Because I don't think he can still be the guy who yells at everybody all the time.
No, he can be the guy who calls out defensive rotations, and he can be an on-court free safety leader. But follow me, boys, I know the way.
No, it's not even follow me, boys, I know the way. Because, one of the things we've heard is that, Draymond Green yells at everybody. I don't know. I wonder how much you can carry that off after you've lost sort of that moral and intellectual high ground that he did hold, and legitimately. I mean, because this is one of those moments where you go, okay, what are you actually giving us? And how much more do we have to take from you? And I think that's an open question. I don't have the answer to it, but I think that's something that the Warriors will have to grapple with as well. And that's why I think this is as big a thing as it is, because it's asking questions of them that they've never had to ask themselves before. Is, how is this leadership working out? Because in the past, the leadership worked out fine. Now, it's an open question like everything else.
Our 4 o'clock hour is behind us. I want to welcome everyone to a 5 o'clock on a Friday.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app. Damn well better be free.
Bad look power rankings. There's enough to go around. Draymond Green is the Alabama of this bad look power ranking. He is number one, unquestioned. He looks like an absolute punk, a straight-up punk who deserves no man-to-man respect until he has re-earned it. I don't want to hear a word from him. Like, to me, Draymond's words ring hollow. I don't want to hear, his airing of grievances, F you everybody, you don't know basketball like I will, my IQ superior podcast anymore. I don't want to hear it. Like, he's an entertaining loudmouth, but to me, his words no longer carry the substance that they used to. So Draymond Green, bad look power ranking, number one with a bullet. To me, the Warriors are number two. They tried to spin this into a basketball skirmish. Neither of these guys were playing basketball when this skirmish broke out. Number three is that Warriors' internal circle of trust. Who leaked this video? Did it come from a Warrior team employee? Why did that employee say, I'm doing this? Is it because I think that I can A, make money, or B, I'm going to get the truth out about this? I don't know. The fans who are trying to dismiss this, it's no big deal. You're number 4 in terms of bad look, in my mind. This is no longer dismissible any more than Ray Rice, what he might have done in a hotel with his wife. Who knows? What happened? Were they arguing? What did she say? What did you know? All of that didn't matter a lick once you saw that video. You just said, my God. And that's kind of what I saw today on that TMZ video. Whatever the preamble was, what Jordan might have said, the trash talking shared, none of that matters anymore after seeing all of this. Draymond's future with the team and in the league. You want to know what the real penalty for Draymond Green's about to be? That punch cost him millions. Probably measured in the tens of millions, the way that NBA and broadcasting contracts are handed out these days. And then, to me, I just feel terrible for Jordan Poole. Like, the guy has collateral damage that will follow him in a world that just looks for your 1 weak spot and pokes you. He's going to hear about this in every gym he walks into. Draymond and Jordan are going to be provoked in every NBA arena this season. What else you got to shout about the Golden State Warriors? Like, this team had no stains on it. This is the stain that everyone will be giddy to bring up. So,
there's one other.
It's messier, yes?
Jake Paul has now offered Draymond Green $10 million to box.
That's...
TMZ reported this, so...
I think we need that to happen, actually.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I think Draymond's got a little fake toughness in him. I bet you Paul will whoop his ass. I mean, look at it this way. Paul goes distances with guys who are like actual fighters. Draymond Green, he's not an actual fighter. He's an actual bit of a sucker puncher from what I've seen. I don't know if Draymond's ever bowed up against someone who was ready to go with him. Not that I've seen.
Not that I've seen either, but I'd be happy to watch him beat the hell out of Jake Paul.
Well,
I'd be okay with that.
Either way, both guys kind of look like douchebags, you know? So it wouldn't be bad to see either of those guys catch a beat.
That's collateral damage, too. It's, this is what happens when you hit a teammate. Jake Paul starts to get in your business.
And here's another thing. Here's another thing that you need to know. Oh, Damon, in the dictionary of wussification in American sports, your faces were on it. Yeah, tell that to Steven Jackson. Tell Steven Jackson he's a wuss, doesn't get it.
And there's no reason to sucker punch a young fella, you know what I'm saying? But I told Draymond last night, he got to fix that situation with Poole. You know what I'm saying? Because he don't benefit from it at all. He got to be the big bro and go over there and tell little bro, look, I spazzed out. You know what I'm saying? Da-da-da-da. But you never hit the little homies like that in practice. All your teammates, man. You never do that. I've never done that, bro. Never done that.
I don't want to hear a word from Draymond on his podcast. New media, hold this. Oh, by the way, here's another reason why you can't take anything Draymond says on his podcast is like, man, that's my guy. That's my guy. Because he's a flaming hypocrite on this alone. Draymond Green, a few months just starting the Draymond Green show or whatever this is. So here he is a few months ago. Here's Draymond Green talking about how much the thing he likes most about Jordan Poole is how much trash he talks. And anyone who's got a problem with Jordan Poole talking trash in practice is soft.
One thing that Jordan did that showed me he's going to be all right in this league actually happened in training camp of his rookie year. Jordan came into camp talking shit to everybody. And I remember one day, him and Glenn Robinson III, they got into it. All these guys are coming to me like, tell him to shut up. His young ass always got something to say. But I'm like, I'm not going to tell him to shut up. If you can't handle him talking shit, that's on you. At that moment, though, the way he was getting under guys' skin, I appreciated that. You know, you couple that with the hard work that he puts in and the amount of skill that he has. And it is a recipe for a guy who's going to be successful in this league.
Again, Draymond Green, as long as you're making fun of everyone else but me, boy, I think it's fantastic. But the minute your trash talk comes in my direction, that looks soft. Soft as hell. 888-957-9570. When one caller hops off the line, that is a line you can hop on. We got nothing but lit lines right now. Here we go. This is Scott in Pleasant Hill. Scott, thank you for holding. You're on 95.7 The Game.
Hey, thank you for taking my call. Great show so far. I think that I'm on my bad look kind of list.
On the power rankings?
Way high up there. Yeah, in the power rankings. I got like the organization and Steve Kerr really high up there, and let me tell you why. They talk about culture. Now is the time to walk the talk. Things are getting hard for them. They talk about building teams around people with character. Steve Kerr, he goes and represents as a national board member of the Positive Coaching Alliance, telling young teams to respect the game, honor your teammates, honor yourself. And that's not happening here. So for him to come out and say, hey, you know, it's going to be business as usual in 3 days, I was really disappointed.
Well, here's the thing. As they framed it, I wasn't initially disappointed. I thought that's the way this should be handled. Practice fights do happen. But this, to me, was not a basketball skirmish. It really wasn't. Scott, thank you so much for the call. And I think you're right to say Steve Kerr doesn't look good on this. Steve Kerr tried to wave his wand and kind of make it all go away and say, we're just going to handle it all, you know, internally. He wanted to defend Jordan Poole. He did do that. He did say, man, Jordan Poole isn't responsible for any of this. Yeah, it's because he's seen the video. Because he saw the video. If you watch the video, you know implicitly Jordan Poole didn't do anything to deserve that. Oh, well, Jordan Poole shoved him first. You're a pansy. If you don't think that if a man can come straight up into your chest, that isn't an act of aggression, you've never been stepped to in your entire life. The only mistake that Jordan Poole really made was to not defend himself at all times. But I don't think he thought that Draymond was going to take it there. No one did. And if Draymond didn't think that he was going to take it there, the man is unhinged. He can snap in a moment.
I think Poole handled it brilliantly. throughout. I mean, maybe most of it's because he's just stupefied by the fact that it happened.
Well, he got dropped like a 50-pound sack of potatoes.
Yeah, but the point is, at some point he could have gotten up and tried to escalate it, but the fact he didn't, and for whatever reason, the fact is he's got the high moral ground right now, and his next step will be the most illustrative of all. How far do you want to carry this? You know, it is his responsibility too now, even though it shouldn't be, because this shouldn't have happened. But it is what you do, you know, for the benefit of your other teammates that's going to define what he does this year.
Gene is in Oakland. Gene, you're on 95.7.
Hey, fellas. So thanks for taking my call. You know, when it comes to carrying his bucket, excuse me, and defending him, nobody tops me. I've been his biggest defender for years. But even I have to say at this point, that he crossed the line for sure. I really think Draymond should be suspended for at least 10 games, because he needs to. I mean, what he did was a felony, for Christ's sake. He assaulted another person. All right, you can't just bury that. Just as the previous caller said, I'm very disappointed in the organization for trying to bury this thing. I'm glad this came out. I think he needs to be suspended. I think he needs to learn from this. And I like what you guys said about Jordan Poole hopefully taking the high road and saying, you know, I'm ready to put this past and move on. At the same time, if Draymond gets suspended, it gives him a chance to take the high road and say, listen, I did a terrible thing. I'm deeply sorry. I'm going to accept my suspension, and I'm going to try to make things right with Jordan and never allow this to happen again.
I think you made a lot of good points there, Gene. I mean, you really did. And the Warriors, who are almost a stain-free organization, now have a gargantuan pimple right in the middle of their forehead. Someone from the 310 says, so, Damon, let me get this straight. Draymond Green gets suspended an actual NBA game for calling Kevin Durant the B word, but he doesn't get suspended an actual NBA game for punching a teammate? Talk about organizational inconsistency. Yeah. How do you defend that? Well, Kevin Durant had won an MVP by that point, so, or a NBA Finals MVP, and Jordan hasn't done that yet. I mean, how do you defend that? I think that's a really good point.
The person who is in charge of defending that, weirdly enough, is Jordan Poole. And that's going to be that press conference that we've imagined where he sits next to Draymond Green and basically says, I'm papering it over.
Right. Here's
that's the defense.
Well, and that's it. Like, I guarantee you they went up to Kevin and said, Kevin, what do you want? And he's like, I need you to get my feelings out and do it so my feelings aren't hurt. Maybe Jordan Poole's just going to go straight up like, let me show you. Let me go solid Michigan man on you. Let me show you what a man really looks like.
Run it on 3rd and 8.
Not Brady Hoke, Michigan. Schembechler, Michigan.
Oh, run it on 3rd and 12.
3rd and 12. What happened? Who got sacked? Now, look, Jordan Poole can come out of this thing looking like the man if he chooses to give that grace to Draymond Green. And Draymond Green should be forever indebted to Jordan Poole if Jordan Poole tries to help smooth out Draymond's rough edges after this. This is Dan in Napa. Dan, thanks for the call.
Hey, Damon and Ray, thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys and big fan of the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, just touching on the Draymond thing. I guess as one of the longtime Draymond defenders, I guess you've been touching on it in the past couple minutes, but just like how hypocritical he looks in this moment where, like, one thing you stand on as a Draymond defender is, like, you always felt like he was being real and true to who he was, where now it kind of looks like he's as hypocritical or fake as anybody else. And I guess the last thing I'll say is, thank God they won that 4th title when they did, because every dynasty ends some way. So hopefully it's not now, but thank God they did.
Dan, thank you very much. Again, if this team goes on to win and defend and repeat, it's amazing that they got through this. Team is iron sharpens iron after all. Turns into a little bit of a, like a warm memory in a weird way, right? Or the man, yeah, look at that. The Warriors circled the wagons, and man, nothing can take down this team. Nothing, not even internal strife. Anything less than another parade up Market Street, this is going to get brought up. This will be brought up, and one of the spins will be like, so now Draymond Green, instead of costing the Warriors one championship, might have actually cost them two. Sounds fun.
It seems unlikely. But again, it's not because I'm trying to minimize what's happened here. There's a lot of days between now and that one.
There sure are. But this is a day that stands out and will be remembered.
Because it's the one that we have in front of us.
Look at it this way. More people have watched this TMZ video than any game in the NBA Finals. I mean, remember the Celtics and their sex scandal, and they were the ones coming out of the finals people were laughing at? Look at the way people are laughing kind of in the Warriors' direction right now, talking about, where is the culture? Grizzly in the 707. What do you got?
Oh, yeah, I was just talking about the guys that are talking about Poole was the one that was hitting first. No, man, once some man pulls up into your bubble and threatens your well-being, man, he's lucky that Poole didn't swing on him first. You can't try to say that another man is going to threaten you, come into your bubble and bump you in your chest, and then try to blame him. Nah, man.
Look, Grizzly, you're so right. You're completely right. Took you a minute to get there, but I'm glad we let you get there because you're right. I'm going to tell you right now, Ray, if this happens in the state of Texas, the state of Florida, Jordan Poole would have been within his right to shoot Draymond Green dead. Stand your ground laws. Now, that's the most dramatic interpretation of this is humanly possible, but that's where it is. Walking up to a man with bad intentions all up into his space is the first move in the fight, not the shove saying, get out of my space.
Well, I haven't heard many people try to frame Poole's culpability as the shove. What I've heard is that this started with trash talking. And trash talking goes both ways. That said, it's just trash talking. It doesn't
and Jordan
get
Poole's
you.
not talking in this video, by the way.
No. But I suspect
right.
you
I'm sure
started
it happened
talking
before the video came out.
All I'm saying is trash talking doesn't get you here, because trash talking goes on in every play, in every practice, including the ones where nobody does get in a fight. No, what makes it extraordinary is the end of it. That's what makes this different, and it's different because Draymond Green threw the punch.
Somebody says, if you guys talk to any former players about this, what more do you need than hearing from Steven Jackson, who is like straight up one of the most hardcore, this is NBA culture, don't you tell me how to function in my league guys there ever was. Steven Jackson's credibility rings out in the streets. Here's what he said.
And there's no reason to sucker punch a young fella, you know what I'm saying? But I told Draymond last night, he got to fix that situation with Poole. You know what I'm saying? Because he don't benefit from it at all. He got to be the big bro and go over there and tell little bro, look, I spazzed out. You know what I'm saying? Da-da-da-da. But you never hit the little homies like that in practice. All your teammates, man. You never do that. I've never done that, bro. Never done that.
And again, Steven Jackson's done just about everything else in the NBA, but he's never done that. Don't say another word about malice at the palace. That's Steven Jackson having his team's back. That's him backing up his teammates, not fighting his teammates. What are you talking about? Steph Curry. Steph Curry, what do the Warriors need to do to get past this with the young players?
I mean, everything is important. How we handle this situation is important. How Draymond responds to the space that he needs to come back with the right frame of mind on, again, doing the work, coming with the right energy, making it about the team. Like, all those things are important. And for him, one of his superpowers is being able to bring his fire and competitiveness and his voice. And I don't want him to ever lose that. So whatever it takes to maintain that presence and trust and rebuild whatever he needs to, like, that's the journey we're going to be on. So the young guys have to believe in who we are and what we've built and the culture that we feel like can help us get through stuff like this. And it's up to me, Andre, the guys, Clay, the guys that have been around to embody that on a daily basis. So I think that's what we do really well.
Curry asked how he reacted to it. And again, this was before anyone saw the video. Here's what he said, how he reacted to the altercation when it happened.
It's about protecting the team, and that includes Draymond and JP in that moment. Like, make sure everybody's cool, like, create those boundaries that need to be in place, and then again, get to the conversation that need to happen like right away and the rest of the day and this morning. So I didn't know how to kind of rationalize what happened in the moment, but you also kind of just spring into action on trying to problem solve as quick as possible. And again, protect those two guys and the rest of the team on, you kind of set the stage for how we're going to get through it. So not like you can wave a magic wand and do it all in that moment, but you start that groundwork on like setting the tone of how we're going to get through this, and a lot of experience on how to do that.
The whole thing felt like no one really anticipated about what was about to happen, except for Ron Adams, maybe. Watch that video. Ron Adams, a veteran of 1,000, 10,000. Right? How many NBA practices has Ron Adams been a part of?
I would say in 40 years times 200. 8,000.
Yeah, I was going to say about 10,000 to 12,000
Well, they might have
practices.
some double days.
Exactly. So Ron Adams starts trailing Draymond when he's walking over to Jordan Poole like he's trying to catch a draft off him in a NASCAR race. He's right behind him. He knew something was coming. The entire team was flabbergasted. Like, Jonathan Kuminga just stands there looking at the whole thing like, you can't believe what's happening. It was his freaking birthday. He's like, what, are you doing this on my birthday? But the scrum was, broken up quickly, and it was like people jumped in to defend Jordan Poole from further beatings.
I mean, look, this is so out of the pale that the people who complain, well, why didn't anybody else step in? Because you're too busy picking your jaw up off the floor. And I don't mean Jordan Poole's. I mean, that doesn't happen in practices. Of all the things that happens in practices, that doesn't happen.
Power forward, starting center, banging against each other. Your best defensive guard, checking your best offensive guard. Two of them jawing at each other, like just hip checking each other, backing each other down in the low post, as physical as you can get. None of that was happening. None of that was happening. They weren't even involved in the actual action of the practice when this started. This was not a basketball skirmish born of physical play. This was Draymond Green feeling like, you have just offended me and I now need to punch you because I'm a child. It's not the reaction of a tough guy. That's a child. Andrew in the city. What's going on?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
I was just calling to say that, I just don't see why everybody is so against Draymond because, we only seen a small piece of the video, and we don't really know what happened before that. So there's no audio, so we don't know what was being said. Even though there's no reason for him to come up and punch Poole in the face, it's just, if someone's coming at you, even if you appreciate that they're talking shit and they are
Thank you very much.
He was close.
He was close.
No, but the point is, the punch is what makes it the problem. And if it wasn't a problem within the team, they wouldn't have had the presser yesterday. And no matter how you feel about the quality of the presser, they felt significantly moved by it to do it. So they're also saying this is beyond the pale. And it's not, you never heard anybody defend Draymond Green's side in this. So, not seeing the whole video, maybe that tells you where this started, but the problem is where it ended. The starting part, okay, fine, but you're supposed to be able to stop yourself short of the ending part. And the ending part is why this is a problem.
Sticks and stones.
Not even if it's just two guys shoving each other.
Right. There's a difference between me shoving you and me winding up from my ear to deliver a right hand.
When you're not expecting it. Right. That's the key. If they were both ready and in fighting position.
Right. Squared up.
That changes the dynamic. It doesn't make it great.
Right.
But it changes the dynamic.
Both guys drop the gloves. Everyone is aware it's go time.
Yeah.
Jordan Poole didn't take a lick of hockey equipment off for this fight.
No, well, then again, if he's starting to play with gloves, that may be impacting his performance in practice.
He can't go left, that's for sure. This is Art in San Jose. Art, you're on 95.7 The Game. What do you got?
Hey, what's shaking? One thing you just said was a starting Hall of Fame power forward, cheap shotting the backup point guard. Come on, bro. But honestly, to me, this sounds like you're 34 years old, you're not the hottest girl in the club anymore, and you can't handle it. Remember when he was talking smack about Jonathan Kuminga on his podcast? Why are you always smiling? He got thrown out of a game because he was so vociferously, barking at Wiseman. Cheap shots, Poole. He's a freaking joke. But another thing, I don't mean to make light of anyone's personal issues. We all got issues. Do you think this might have anything to do with his alcohol problem? Remember he last year was like, I'm not drinking alcohol anymore because I can't handle it. Like, what do you guys think about that?
Look, I'm not even going to speculate on that.
We're not there, and I don't know that alcohol played a role in this.
Yeah. Was he drunk at practice? Look at it this way. If there's a part of that in play here, the Warriors got the biggest problem that the NBA is going to find all year. I don't think that has anything to do with it. But controlling your temper, grown man, has been a problem for Draymond Green as he is now fully walking around in the I'm an adult grown man space. This is a guy who doesn't have a problem mother effing anyone he thinks ever slighted him. Draymond Green's got words for absolutely everybody. He does a podcast from Boston the night of winning a championship. Is he illuminating what an incredible accomplishment it was? No, it's just an airing of grievances. Everyone who said we weren't about to win a title, F you. Like, the guy doesn't even know how to communicate. The guy's a child. And the Warriors have been covering up, and the success of the team has been covering up, and his defensive prowess has been covering up and carrying a lot of weight for things that people just dismissed in the name of he helps you win. And he's going to help him win this year.
Yeah.
But I want you to know that I'm out. Like, I'm out on the Draymond Green experience. I'm not rooting for that guy, his success anymore. If he has success in light of the Warriors, well, great. He can share in what is theirs. But to me, he is now forever outside of the circle of trust. Because even if he does say everything perfect, and even if Jordan Poole comes into a press conference with him playing Kumbaya on an acoustic guitar, even if everything at the next press conference goes 1,000,000% right, do any of you think Draymond's going to be able to keep his cool the minute something goes wrong, the minute the next pressure point is applied? The man has anger issues. He cannot control his temper. These are two easily equatable attributes of children. Draymond Green is a 32-year-old baby who walks around in a grown man's body. So there's a huge illusion there. He's entertaining as hell. Like all snakes, he's a little bit of a charmer. I don't think this team can ever actually defend that guy again. Damon, you went to Indiana. Bobby Knight's one of the most despicable people on earth. Yep. You want to talk about Bobby Knight, the brilliant basketball coach? He is all those things. Bobby Knight, the human being, sucks. I've reached that conclusion. Stopped carrying water for Bobby a long time ago. Great coach. Knows more about basketball and forgotten more about basketball than most people could ever imagine to know. He's an a-hole. Total a-hole bully who does not find the welcome mat rolled out for him later in life like he expected to, because times have changed. Arnett in Richmond. You're on 95.7 The Game. Arnett, what do you got?
Yes, I thank you for taking my call. I want to bring up something that I have not heard. I've been listening to you all for about an hour and a half now, and I haven't heard anyone talk about the notion that Draymond Green's actions were premeditated. Now, one fellow that just called a few minutes ago spoke about there wasn't enough of the video to tell what happened. Well, the video that I saw just a few minutes ago showed Draymond walking several steps, 5, 6, 7 steps to get to Jordan Poole. And once he got there, he bumped his chest. So the initial reaction of Jordan Poole to push him away is something that any athlete would do, any person would do. Totally unexpected to be clobbered in the manner in which Draymond Green did that. Now, the other thing, there's two more things, if we will. You know, in the NFL, there's a whole issue about the protocol for
concussions.
Concussions, right. Who's to say that Jordan Poole wasn't knocked out?
Hey, he might have been. I mean, he got dropped. Look at it this way. For everyone who wants to say, well, he wasn't actually knocked out, if that were an actual boxing match, that would have started a 10 count from any referee in the ring. They would have started counting to 10 right there. That's how much he got clocked by Draymond Green. I don't know if he actually lost consciousness. Someone said that the reason why the Warriors don't have any media availability is because they don't want Jordan Poole showing off a black eye if he has one today. It looked like he got hit in the jaw. I mean, that's the thing. Draymond tried to end him in that punch. Did you ever throw a punch at one of your boys? I have. Like a real good friend. And you know, like as soon as this fight's over, we're going to be real good friends again. I didn't hit him as hard as I could because he's my friend. And sometimes friends fight. These things happen. By the way, this is from my childhood. This is from my teenage years.
This is from last Tuesday.
Yeah, no, this is from like 14-year-old Damon. There was no real intent to ever do damage. You don't swing on a guy like that is in your circle of love. It just doesn't happen. Draymond Green has no real love for Jordan Poole, and it might be vice versa. Well, guess what, boys? The two of you are at work today. So put your differences aside and just pick up your lunch buckets and go to work. And it looked like Jordan Poole was going to do that. Draymond Green had to drop his lunch bucket and punch someone who wasn't even ready for it. That's lame.
I mean, we've plowed this ground over and over and over. I mean, Draymond Green was in the wrong and profoundly in the wrong. And what he's done is make a lot of people change the way they view going to work. And I don't mean fans. They don't matter. I'm talking about players. You know, what do we got here? What can we rely on? What can we not rely on? All that stuff, it's all that is in the air now. And one of the things the Warriors could always rely on was their internal stability. Now they have instability, and fairly profound instability at that. So that's another part of the equation here that we're talking about. Is Draymond Green, through the thing that he cares most about in this world, which is his basketball team, into disarray.
And the reason why he's got no benefit of the doubt is because he's got all these priors on him. You know, somebody said, Damon, you know, this happens. He didn't shoot the guy, tone it down. He's got priors. He's got priors. This isn't the first time Draymond's ever been governed by emotion, couldn't get his you-know-what in check. This man's got priors on him. You know, it's you know, somebody said, Damon, your boy Isaiah Thomas said he got in several fights with teammates. Was that the early 80s? By the way, check that you got the right Isaiah Thomas, because I saw Isaiah Thomas, the new Isaiah Thomas, tweeting about this earlier today, not Zeke, Detroit Piston Hall of Famer. The world was different in 1983. In 1983, men were allowed two emotions, hungry and horny. No one was in touch with anything. You fought people everywhere. You could punch somebody in an insurance company and it didn't even matter.
A sucker punch was a sucker punch even then, though. And that's what this was. I mean, that's the thing. This is not about fighting. This wasn't a fight. This was a punch. It was, to my definition, an assault. That's different than a fight. A fight, there are two people equally invested in the combat. One might not be as good as the other, and you find that out pretty quickly, but it still starts out even. That's the difference. That's why the fight, you know, analogy doesn't work, because this wasn't one.
Look, and dude, I'm about as old school as it gets. Like, I did worship at the altar of Bobby Knight. I do love hard, scrabble, nasty, physical basketball teams and players and athletes. I'm for all that. I'm for all fights happen at practice. I'm for all of that. Yesterday, you heard me. I was saying this is something that everyone will get beyond because the right leadership is in place. I didn't know that they were covering this up. The video today changes everything. I'm really cool with guys getting a little squabbles out in sports. That wasn't squabbles. That wasn't squabbles. That wasn't two guys banging against each other all afternoon and now they're just fed up and here we go. We're playing a feud. That wasn't that. Al in Pacifica, you're on 95.7 The Game.
Hey, guys. Exactly, man. That presser was exactly a cover-up. I just want to say this is reminiscent of Bobby Portis and Nikola Mirotic when he punched him. He got 8-game suspension. If the Warriors don't suspend Draymond, this would be the weakest, scariest move they make as an organization, and you should entertain the possibility of trading him. Obviously, you can't release because of the things he's done for the Warriors, but he's crossed the line too many times, and this is it for me as a fan and as a Warriors fan. He should be traded and suspended.
Thank you, Al.
If you're trading him but you're not willing to release him, I don't understand that logic. Because the trade is designed to get rid of him, the release is designed to get rid of him.
He's not going to be traded.
He's not going to be traded or released. That is my point. There is no internal consistent logic in he should be traded, but I would disagree with releasing him. Why? If you think he should be traded, what do you care how you're getting rid of him? That's my point.
Jose in Mountain View, you're on 95.7 The Game. Jose, hello. What do you got?
Hey, man, you know what? Yesterday I was with you, man. I was like, yeah, this happens on teams. Seen it before. It's fine. But once the video came out, it changed everything. And the thing why I'm disappointed and shocked is because, dude, this is the Warriors, the organization that we look up to, and we thought, okay, they're doing it right. Well, it turns out they're just like everybody else. They're just hiding it really well. And it makes you wonder, when Durant left, when KD took off, the one thing he said was, like, culture. They don't have culture. Well, maybe this is what KD meant. And we're seeing it firsthand here with how they're treating this, first as a cover-up, and now I don't know what they're going to do, but one thing's for sure, that was assault. So I know Ray just said something about, we're not going to trade him or whatever, but after this, you really have to think about why not? And why not trade him more or less later on as opposed to now? You just get 2 draft picks and some cash, man. Who cares? At this point in time, you've got to think about the future. He's old enough where he won't be able to make that much of a contribution anyways. 2-3 years from now compared to Kuminga, Wiseman, and Moody.
Well, here's the deal. Look, here's the Draymond conundrum. He's on the books for $25.8 million this season with a player option that is worth $27.6 million for next season. If he opted out, he'd be an unrestricted free agent. I don't think teams are going to be coming for Draymond like he used to. As a matter of fact, I guarantee you one of the things he's talking about with his agent today is whenever this settles down, we're going to be exercising that player option because you just basically neutered other teams' interests in you. Draymond Green, you know what this is going to cost him? Tens of millions of dollars. He's entering his age 32 season. Injuries limited him to just 46 games last year. You know, he's getting older. He's slowing down. Draymond, he knows where his bread is buttered, yet at the same time, he's clearly not as smart as he claims to be. You want to talk about basketball IQ? Basketball IQ should have said, I'm smart enough to not throw a punch at practice. That's basketball IQ too, isn't it?
This isn't about smarts. This is about impulse control. And we've been saying that
and
all
he is
week.
none.
So it's not about whether he's smart or not. He's smart. But he's wildly impulsive, and this is the most impulsive thing he's done yet. At least in the basketball context.
We will try to, look at it this way. His impulse has had him sucker punching a kid on the Michigan State football team when he was back in East Lansing at like a homecoming dance. That was years ago, which is, the follies of youth. He's a 32-year-old man with children. Be better. When we come on back, we'll squeeze in as many calls as we can into our final segment. We got nothing but lit lines, so we'll try to get to all of you. Here on 95.7 The Game, we're brought to you by Lucky California.
At Lucky California, every day is full of fresh possibilities everywhere you look at a price that will always fit your budget. This week, red or green grapes are just $1.49 per pound. Shop all of the fantastic weekly deals at Lucky California. Come see what's fresh.
Hi, this is George with Left Coast Buyers. We buy properties all over California. If you own a house or an apartment building and want to sell it fast at a great price, call us at 925-434-5000. We can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. We buy properties in any condition, any price range, and can help you in any situation. Do you own a property that is run down and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Are you out of time, money, and energy? Let us help. Are you looking for an easy way to get top dollar for your property and sell on your terms and timeline? Well, call Left Coast Buyers now at 925-434-5000. We can solve any problem. We buy divorce houses, inherited houses. We even buy vacant houses and abandoned houses. Do you have a tenant who hasn't paid rent? Are you behind on property taxes, mortgage payments, or even facing a foreclosure? Even if you're just nervous about capital gains or an upcoming recession, we've seen it all. So if you or someone you know owns a property and needs to sell, call Left Coast Buyers at 925-434-5000. That's 925-434-5000.
Every search you make, every click you take, they'll be watching you.
Tired of companies like Google and Facebook watching everything you do online? There's actually a simple solution. DuckDuckGo. It's an all-in-one privacy app with a built-in private search engine, web browser, one-click data clearing, email protection, and more. All for free. Download the app today and get the most comprehensive privacy protection with a push of a button. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Hey, Becky, what about this beat for your next song?
It's cool, but I'm into faster stuff lately. Like Xfinity that gives me beyond gig speeds.
Got it. What about this then?
It sounds powerful, just like Xfinity. Because its supersonic Wi-Fi has 3 times the bandwidth, you can connect hundreds of devices at once.
That's what I call power.
Unbeatable internet from Xfinity. Made to do anything so you can do anything.
Get the Xfinity Supersonic Bundle with unlimited gig speed internet, Wi-Fi equipment included, and a free 4K streaming box. All for $50 a month with a 2-year internet rate guarantee and no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go to Xfinity.com/gig, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay. New gigabit extra internet customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes wireless usage. After 24 months, regular rates apply. Requires compatible Xfinity gateway.
At the UPS store, we know this upcoming holiday is when things can get busy for small business owners.
Exactly. My to-do list and I don't take days off.
That's why you can count on us to be open and ready to help with every small business need, whether it's packing and shipping or if it's just to check your mailbox.
That's almost everything on my to-do list. My list and I can take the day off.
Your local, the everything to help you be unstoppable store. The UPS store. Be unstoppable. The UPS store locations are independently owned. Product services, pricing, and hours may vary. See Center for details.
Okay, 3 more climbers, 7 loggers.
Ted's sustainably sourced logging company is growing a new branch.
What about truck driver contracts?
Which means a new HR manager will be the first hire to fall.
Then we'll need to staff up the warehouse.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
O'Reilly Auto Parts specializes in keeping your car on the road. Not sure how much life is left in your battery? Our professional parts people will test it for free. If it does need to be replaced, we'll help you find just the right one to fit your car. Our Superstart batteries are built to handle even the toughest conditions. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Chris Cuomo is back with a new show on a new network. Catch Cuomo weeknights on News Nation at 5 p.m. Pacific. To find News Nation on your television provider, go to newsnationnow.com/join us.
Here's what happened today on The Game.
Presented by the County of Santa Clara.
The morning roast from 6 to 9.
I just saw Jordan Poole. It's the same guy I met from day one at his rookie introductory press conference. I just thought, I was like, man, where's this coming from?
Willard and Dibbs from 9 to noon.
Look, I know that was a bad call, but you're a human being. So you make mistakes too, so it's okay, Scott. You would hate Draymond.
Steiny and Guru from noon to 3.
If I were Jordan Poole, I would be like, Draymond, you are gutless. You're gutless. You wouldn't let me square up.
And Damon and Ratto from 3 to 6.
Draymond Green cost himself tens of millions of dollars with the city. Tens of millions of dollars. Definitively, undebatably, has cost himself millions.
The best of the game. Presented by the County of Santa Clara. Book a COVID-19 booster shot now at sccfreevax.org or call 211. Now back to Damon and Ratto, brought to you by BMW Fairfield on 95.7 The Game.
Stick around. Our pal Nick Fardell, who joined us today, is going to be part of Best of the Game, which is happening at the top of the hour. We want to thank Kyle Bailey from Charlotte for the 3 minutes we talked about something other than Draymond Green and Jordan Poole and the fight in practice, which, thanks to a video released today on TMZ, looks a whole lot more different at the end of this show than it did at the end of yesterday's show. We are wrapping up the show, and we will end it with our one and only gambling segment of the week. Ray, we will be fading the public. It's a Fade the Public Friday. We do have a bet for everyone to make if you'd like to fade the public. But in the meantime, Dublin Marge, as we try to wrap up with as many calls as we can. Hello, Marge.
Hello, how are you?
Very good, thank you.
A couple things. One, you know, I've struggled with Draymond for years, but I appreciate the value he brings. But this year, it's been different, I think, since right before, I guess since the playoffs. like something just seems off with Draymond. Stress, definitely some stress going on there. But what I'm curious about, and I haven't heard you mention, is which teams do you think are calling the Warriors? Who's Bob Myers talking to? And is it about Jordan Poole or Draymond or both? I mean, I'm thinking other teams are probably interested in picking up a piece.
Marge, it's not a bad question. I guarantee you there's always an opportunist looking to make something out of someone else's problem. I wonder if Bob did get a call today.
Well, he probably wouldn't have gotten any calls on Poole because Poole's in charge of his future. And I think teams would say, well, why do I have to trade for Poole when I can just outbid people for him? So I think that's probably not happening. As far as calls for Green, I suspect none in the last 48 hours.
Yeah, that probably isn't happening. And how about this? Here's the reality that I think shook Draymond a little, and maybe part of the seeds of all of this is he understood that call wasn't really happening before this. Draymond Green's value to the Warriors is something extraordinary. To other NBA teams, I don't know. Unless you got like the best shooting backcourt of all time to make up for the fact that guy can't hit water falling out of a boat. Someone's like, what do you think? What do you think Jordan Poole actually said? If he said, make 5 jump shots in a row, I dare you, that would have been enough to snap him, don't you think?
No, I think this has been an ongoing thing. I don't think this was this practice all of a sudden it turned weird, because Draymond Green has had a lot of references about Jordan Poole and trash talking. And I think maybe the other day it just hit him wrong, and it hit him wrong the wrong way. That's my working theory anyway, based on having been to 0 practices.
Someone from the 510 says Farhan should kick the tires. Chris, Sunnyvale, you're on 95.7 The Game, Chris.
Hey, what's up, Damon? How you doing?
Very good. Final call of the day, man. Make it a good one.
All right. I think you're being a little hard on Draymond. I mean, look at the past. I mean, look at things that have happened. Didn't Michael Jordan punch Steve Kerr in a practice?
Yeah, I'm tired of hearing about that. I really am. And that's the thing. We shouldn't attach nobility to that. That's not a good thing. When Jordan punched Steve Kerr, guess what was also happening? Steve Kerr was punching Michael Jordan. That was a fight. What we saw here isn't a fight. It wasn't a fight. One guy was talking, and the other guy started throwing punches.
Or technically a punch.
A punch. I mean, I guess that's, cool if, them's the rules of the prison yard or the playground yard, but...
That's not even the rules of the playground.
And look, these guys are not just basketball players the way that you know them. They're multi-million-dollar corporations and entities unto themselves. There's a whole level to professionalism that is required of them that is not required of whatever game you're going to drive past, on a playground. There are some basketball truths. And the truth is you leave all that street nonsense off to the side when there are millions and millions of dollars at stake. That's really all the time we have today. Ray, do you want to talk about this more on Monday? Oh, no, you know what I suggest you do, Ray?
No, I absolutely refuse.
You know what I'm going to suggest you do? Why don't you, so this doesn't have to bother you, I insist, take next week off.
Gee, you know what? If you'd mentioned that to me 5 months ago, I would have said, hey, what a grand idea. But since I already had the idea, I'll just say, way to paper over.
Yeah, it wasn't improved until this moment. I'm signing off on it.
Oh,
you need the break.
You would have been stunned to see the absent chair.
I believe Larry Kruger's coming in on Monday. I know John Dickinson's coming in for a couple days next week, too, so it'll be a good week. And, Ray, I do hope you have a lovely vacation and maybe a little money to take with you. Time to fade the public. So the most action looked like it was on the Bills hosting the Steelers with Kenny Pickett making his starting debut. The line moved from 8 to 15. By the way, that's the largest spread in the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers franchise. That was interesting.
It hasn't gotten to 15 yet that I know of.
These are the numbers that you gave me today, Chief.
I have 14.
Okay, then maybe I pushed it. But either way, from 8 to 14, I might have hit the wrong button. I do have fat fingers.
Here's the thing about Lucas's weird fade the public thing. I'm not exactly sure what metric he uses. If he's talking about where the most bets are being placed, the most bets are being placed on Tennessee minus 2.5 against Washington. That's 76%. If you're talking about the biggest line move, the Buffalo line move of 6 points, that started in June. So that's probably not the biggest line move from start of week to end of week.
I think you've already bored most of the audience.
I know, but we're just giving them a team. We're not giving them edge. The biggest line move since Monday is the 49ers. It's moved 3.5.
But we got the Eagles, who are +2 to open, now -5 and a hook at Arizona. That's a 7.5-point swing, as Bob Fitzgerald would say. So we're on the Arizona Cardinals this week. Arizona +5.5 against the undefeated Eagles. I don't like our chances, but all we're doing is fading the public. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Really appreciate it. We're back on Monday. We'll see what the Niners did. We'll see how this weekend goes for the Warriors. Should be an interesting 3 o'clock coming up on Monday. Thanks to all you for tuning in. Enjoy Fleet Week. Have some fun this weekend. And remember that sports don't build character, Draymond. They reveal it.
And like that, he's gone.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.